Welcome, everybody. Dadman Walking 55 here, coming to you on such a big occasion. Very bittersweet tonight, I will say. Uh, I don't know. We go to town, tired. I don't know what you call it. But hey, got a big night tonight where we complete a television series review that has been full of highs, lows, and oh, what the heck happened here, Felicia? Not what I expected. But we did get an explanation of some weird costumes. So, no, it was not 60s roller skate theater or drive-in food, but some really good stuff, some really weird stuff, and really, but what has made this wonderful is this wonderful people that have become part of our family here on this channel. Many have done routine engagements, but even better that they're here for something weekly and all that. So you know what? I'm going to kind of jump the shark a little bit. I'm going to do something a little bit different because this is a guy who's never gotten introduced first. But let's welcome in the captain, JT Kirk, tonight. Hello, sir.
Hey. Good evening.
Good. You got the snack done in time before I changed and called him audible.
Oh, yes. I'm excited to talk sports tonight. You know, I did a lot of brush up on MLB and, all the rest. So,
well, yeah, we got to talk about.
Let's bring in Whoopa and all the rest. Oh, wait, shoot. Wait, is this the sports show?
Yeah, we can bring in Australian rules football because of our Antipodean friend here, Hungry Boy.
All right, well, let's
we can bring him in and we can talk Australian rules football. Hey,
which I do like. But I like playing it better. Well, when I was not crippled and I could play it, I like it. That's actually a very fun game. But I'm not going to talk about sports. We have a very big show tonight. It's going to go long, so we got to bring in our next guest, and I'm not taking any attention away from Daisy. So let's.
I know. Well, I know, but we got to put the spotlight a little bit on you too, like we did JT Kirk, though.
Wait, is it Tuesday or Friday?
It's Friday.
Oh, shoot. Oh, boy.
JT,
this is awkward. This is awkward.
Welcome to my world. These days are all crazy and stuff. So what?
I'll tap myself a little bit. All right.
Okay.
So I'm the comic book guy. I'm the illustration guy. I'm the guy that knows a little bit more about the ins and outs of the physical machinations of pop culture that led into all this stuff. And that's all I really need to say, because what we're really talking about here is the observations and what we felt when we watched these shows. And also the beautiful part of this is we are an intergenerational show. Because, and this is going to be a large part of my notes and probably Daisy's notes tonight, like JT, despite the fact he sounds like the best person to play Orson Welles when Orson Welles was in his 20s and 30s. And I'm not joking, man, really, honestly.
Thank you.
You have the voice, you have the mannerisms. The thing is that you weren't around for the stuff that was going on in the world when this episode came out. We were,
right.
and so that's going to, I'll just be honest, it's going to be interesting to hear about what you have to say about the episode versus what Daisy and I and Dadman have to say, because we were having to watch the news and listen to the news on the radio back when radio existed.
Before TV killed the radio star.
There you go.
So it was told.
Yes.
Anyway.
Absolutely. Well, so can we move on to Daisy now?
But Hungry, don't sell yourself short. You know, you're also good with the legend and the lore of Buck Rogers. Like in our earlier episodes, we talked about the strips and the comics and stuff like that. But
we honestly, for the no spoilers, just a preamble, we get back to that with this episode. Well, I mean, I honestly think that there were some people who knew this was going to be the last episode, and they did try a little bit harder.
Okay, well, I'm curious about that because I really want to hear it. But no, Hungry, none of that's the beautiful part. The beautiful part is this wonderful, our channel cat that has graced us with their appearance, the beautiful, most beautiful Daisy Blossom Flower Child. Welcome again, my friend.
Thank you very much. Hello, gentlemen. Which sport are we discussing this evening? I know hockey, I know basketball, and I know actual football, in addition to that American one you play.
Actual football. Actual football, meaning soccer, but
Yes.
we call it rugger. Daisy, you know it's not even rugby, it's rugger. If you played it, it's rugger.
Hey, what, Daisy?
I can, but I can say go 49ers.
Yes,
sorry.
she
Did
does.
I say that? I'm so sorry.
You can
Yeah.
say
I don't
that
know
all
what
you
possessed me.
want. You can say
Dallas
that all
is
you want to.
disavowing you now.
I disavowed Dallas a long time ago. So
Wait! What are you dissing on me
you
for?
are not America's team,
Well,
and
This
you
is
never have
we
been.
were in
This
the
is true.
70s.
Facts.
We were in the 70s.
I was there in the 70s, dear.
I
You know-
was too. I was like in
Yeah,
grammar school.
Joe Montana,
Okay.
man. Everybody loved Joe
Yeah,
Montana.
Joe Montana.
Yeah.
Won my year. Joe Montana. Won my season for
Oh,
men.
wait. Violin. I'm
Daisy,
playing
you're
violin.
mocking me.
La,
Daisy.
la, la,
I
la,
need
la,
my
la,
resolution blown
la.
up so I can see that
Daisy's
violin.
mocking me.
Yep.
And
I
you
can't
know what?
believe I'm hurt. I
this
haven't
episode-
been out of hungry.
This episode of Buck has made Daisy spicy. Daisy is like,
Is she
Daisy
growling
is
now?
Like,
I'm like,
Straight, Daisy.
I'm like, oh my gosh, Daisy.
I thought
no,
tonight-
I would think our friend Bucky was doing this, not Daisy. Oh my gosh, but
Tonight,
Did
I
you
thought
hear
we were
that? I
talking
tried to
about the
hiss.
Finer points.
I heard
I heard
something.
it.
I knew something was not normal.
I heard it. I'm a cat person. I heard it. Trust me.
Yeah. I heard the
Daisy,
stare
I had a
from all the way
Burmese
over
in the
here.
family. I had a pure
Oh, nice.
Burmese in the family. And when they, they're very quiet cats, but when they hiss, something has pissed them off.
Well, on that note, with that chaos, I'm still kind of wounded.
What
here
are we
now,
talking
thanks to
about
Daisy.
tonight?
I don't know. I lost track
The
of it.
finer
We're supposed to be
points
talking
of
about Buck
competitive
Rogers, but
badminton.
how the heck
Finer
did we
points
get on?
Canadian badminton. Yes,
You know
competitive
what?
Canadian badminton.
I
You know
played
what,
badminton.
guys?
I hated it.
Honestly, you know what, though? This is exactly why I love this group of people here right now. This is a bittersweet evening because these three all of a sudden took my impromptu bull crap and just ran with it and really surprised the Hades out of me. I mean, JT was spot on and Hungry coming, but then Daisy was throwing down, mocking me too. It's like, wow, nice.
Sorry, I apologize
love it.
profusely.
No, I'm sure everybody loves it out there. It's awesome. But hey, we love it, Daisy, and love everybody here tonight. But yes, we're here for Buck Rogers in the 25th century. We got one episode to look at tonight, and then we're going to spend the rest of our time looking back and talking about things and memories from the show. Feel free to jump in as you put your thoughts in the chat if you've seen this episode or if you've watched other episodes as we talk about it. But let's go ahead and run through the chat now after that wonderful
please.
Introduction. May I be in charge again?
Yes.
Hungry.
Look, that was an in joke because of who's in charge in aspect of the plot of this episode.
Oh, I
was making
know.
an in-joke.
Yes, we don't know who's in charge of this episode. I don't
No.
think Glenn A. Larson.
I don't mean your episode. I mean the episode of Buck.
No, I know. That's what I'm talking about.
The
Wait
real
till we get
tragedy
into
is
it.
nobody got points for
Right.
writing on the searcher this week.
No.
Frequent
That's
flyer
got to be
points.
that's got to be the smallest group of friggin' society survivalists I've ever seen. They like stick them in one little room.
But
Anyway.
before we get to
And
that,
apparently
Daisy, yes.
I'm sorry, apparently the searcher is way smaller than I thought it was.
It's
You
a
have to
Tylenol.
shove them all into one room.
It's just a Tylenol, like an airplane. But hey, let's go here. Let's
But
say hello to
Daisy,
Emily.
Daisy,
Yeah?
the thing that's amazing about this episode is that it's the final, it's the last hurrah, and we are all going to have so much to say about it tonight.
Okay, well, let's say hello to the chat. Yes, you're right. We got plenty to say about this. So, hello to you, Emily, the Antipodean.
And you
wanna
got to
sing
do the
it?
song, or
I know,
Emily's
you
going to
go
be
ahead.
unhappy.
Yeah.
Emily Gangadine and the Retrievers.
Yes. Awesome. 13 of y'all here with us now. 12. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe on our side. Let's get back to 6:30. But hey, Daisy Blossom, Flower Child with the great, beautiful Bombay cat there.
Good, pretty.
Brogu.
Rose.
How
Hello.
are you tonight? Good to see you, Brogu. Always a pleasure. Let's see. And the chat jumped on me. And say JT's telling everybody we're putting on makeup. We're doing the Muppet Show intro. That's what we need right there for that song. But hey, and FKHC 2005, hell to you. Good to have you in with us tonight. We're also over on the Twitch side. Daisy's over there, so make sure you follow us over there.
Can you imagine?
Bucky's crafting. Yes, sir.
Dadman, if you got some way to animate all of your guests coming up onto the stage, going into their respective windows, like the actual Muppet Show intro.
Yeah,
that would be wow. Oh
that
my,
would be cool.
That would be
that would be cool.
Spectacular.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And good evening, Bucky's Crafting. Going to be lurking for now. Thank you for that. Let's see. The old man cometh is here. Hello. Never get tired of the pooper trooper there. Let's hope he doesn't miss from that angle or that distance.
No.
What?
I hadn't seen the picture.
Oh,
before.
Yeah, because you haven't been. Yeah, the old man cometh. Yeah, he's got the stormtrooper on the toilet. Yep.
Well, when you blow it up like that, then I can see it. When it's tiny on my screen, I couldn't see what it was. That's cute.
And Jason Fox, hello, Jason. Good to see you tonight.
Hey, Jason.
Welcome. Emily asks, "Where's the missus?" And the missus is right there. This is our Buck Rogers episode, so the missus is not on this one tonight with us. So, but we did a little bit of Fortnite earlier, which was an interesting day today, I will say. New season, well, not new season. They just added Star Wars to it, so we will see. In the next few days, we'll probably do some more Star Wars at times. So join us for it. But tonight was very kind of interesting. And hey, Brogu says you're being spicy, Daisy. So
true.
Yeah. She's embraced it tonight, folks. Hey, you don't know what you're going to get out of Daisy tonight, so get ready for whatever comes up. So a little bit of hello, Brown, and then there's the missus, and let's see, there's laughter, and share the stream link. Thank you so much. Yes, missus. And there's another emote. I did turn off emote only, I think. And
yes, you did.
Yeah, old man cometh said it was 2 seasons. He thought it was longer. Yeah. So Phantom Outsider. Does it really matter how many survivors there were? Considering the situation, LOL. If the Lady Dorians have the same secret, only need one of each to catch them all Pokemon. All right.
Hello, Phantom.
No spoilers.
Oh my gosh. So
I'm gonna warn you guys.
Corey
I know
Cocker's
here. There's going to be some disagreement tonight, but I honestly really like this episode. No spoilers, but I really do.
Yeah, and Emily, I'm sorry if you were upset the other night. Sometimes some of the movies topics come out, and we just have to take them the way they go. And a lot of times we end up yelling at each other just for the fun of it because we love each other. We get crazy. So I'm not sure what particularly upset you, but yeah, some of the genres are for people, some are not for other people. But I got you, Corey. I hope your family's doing well.
Hey, Corey.
They're still visiting, I think. Still, hell to your Muslim uncle. Good to see you, sir.
Oh, I didn't see him walk in. Hey there.
Yeah, he walked in. He just kicked the door down. But so.
And how rude of me. Hungry. May the 4th be with you.
Oh dear God.
Oh yes, May the 4th be with you. Since you're ahead of us.
Yes, and guess what? But I'm going to bring the past back to him. Happy Hug and Angry Koala Day today to you. Wild Koala Day.
Hey, look, those can be ornery little buggers. I'm a combat wombat. We're peaceful until we need to back our butt into you and knock you down.
Well, there you go. And Corey didn't have much of a rest from a ton of power washing. So, all right. So they're back in New York now. Oh, they're back. They're coming back. Oh, you just got rid of them. Oh, well, all right. Hey. Good for you. Good. Glad that you're here with us. So we appreciate y'all being here.
No, Daisy, no. Else. I saw what you said in the private
chat.
Animal.
Well, she's a drummer. My whole world's been rocked in the last few months because of Daisy. Not only she gets me tonight, but then like this sweet, nice person is a heavy metal drummer. Like what?
Well, hard rock. I listened to heavy metal. I don't do heavy metal drumming. My drum set was not nearly the size it needed, and I didn't have a gong.
No.
So it was just hard rock.
Yeah.
All right.
I know, bummer.
I know. I know.
No,
I don't know.
get that.
I
Daisy,
was
that's
just
like-
about to start singing karaoke though, because you talked gong. I think bang a gong.
Drummers don't
get it
sing.
on.
Nope.
Phil
Yeah,
Collins.
well, hold on. Wait.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
Eagles,
okay,
the
I know.
Eagles,
Phil
the
Collins
Eagles,
is.
the Eagles.
Yeah, female
Sorry.
drummers don't sing.
Okay,
Oh,
fair enough.
yeah,
But
that's
to
true.
back you up, most drummers of any gender don't sing. Like 99%
Drumming-
of them.
Drumming takes all the wind out of your sails. It's hard to
Right.
drum
Yeah.
and sing at the same
Well,
time.
Folks, I tell you what, welcome to Buck Rogers, but we're having fun on this last night. We only have one episode. We've only started with sports ball. Now we're into drumming and music. But hey, this is the type of
Swirling.
stuff we do right here. Well, we only had the one episode, and the rest will be looking back for this thing. But Phantom Outsider says they went for Dorian Gray reference, but could only muster a poor number 12. Looks just like you, Twilight Zone.
Oh, I know what you mean. I know
Oh,
what you mean.
you blew my. Yes.
We'll go into it, Daisy. We'll go into it. We both
right.
have a lot of notes about this. I know we're going to have similar notes. Yes.
Yeah. Well, Jace is a music guy. Knows a lot of drummers that sing and scream.
Yeah, screaming. We can do. Yes.
Oh, Neil
Broger
Peart.
said
Good reference.
Daisy is a female Neil Peart of Rush. So,
Oh, you picked a really good drummer. Wow.
Yeah.
No, I was never that good. That Rush is okay. I'm sorry. Back to Buck Rogers.
I
Now I'm
just-
singing Rush songs in my head.
Well,
Okay.
I never could stay. I mean, that guy, the voice. of that guy
What
Rush,
did you
the guy
just
with
say about the lead singer of
He-
Rush?
he had
No.
a high pitched voice.
Mm-mm.
You know.
So,
Okay.
He's a high tenor.
high tenor.
so
Okay.
does the guy from Aerosmith. Do you not like Steve
Steve Tyler.
Tyler? You don't like Steve Tyler either?
Not
Aerosmith.
really. He's
No, look,
Not-
I mean,
Okay.
Dadman would look at Steve Tyler and go, "That's too messed up for me," and he wouldn't even hear the voice after that. He gets scared by Annie Lennox.
Listen,
for God's
I know
sake.
because that buzz cut, that buzz cut. Oh, geez, where did
Do
chickens
I
come
know
from?
any of their songs?
Walk this way.
Sweet
Oh, who?
Dreams.
Which?
Yes.
Loving
Okay,
an
then.
elevator.
Dream On, sorry, Dream On,
living it
Dream
up
On.
and coming
Dream
down.
on.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Then I know who they are. It's just
That's
the name.
Aerosmith,
Ring
not
the bell.
Rush.
Broken.
Oh, I know
Rush.
Aerosmith.
Rush.
Exactly.
The Tom Sawyer song is most known to
Yes.
non-Rush fans. So today's Tom Sawyer, yes, amazing song.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you guys.
Well, see,
you
whenever
guys-
you say Rush, I'm thinking we're listening to a talk show here, and
Yes, that's
no.
what I think too. But I do. All right.
Anyway.
Corey likes the drummer from Unleash the Archer, Scott Buchanan. So, and hello, Jerry Minosa. Welcome in.
Hey,
Good
Jerry.
to see you. All right. So we've had 20 minutes of football talk and now music talk. This is why I love having these guys around here. We could sit here, we could dump the whole subject and go in a different random because these guys are so flexible. These are friends of mine, and just love talking and laughing with these
And
guys.
you
They're
are
amazing.
friends of us. You are friends
I
of
know,
us.
but it's my night to say hello and thank you to you guys because this series would not have been possible without the three of these and their commitment every week, and also with our friend Dave C, who could not make it tonight for filling in when Daisy was not able to be here for a couple weeks. You know, this is what makes streaming fun. This is what it's about. You know, having good friends that come on and you can sit around, shoot the bull. And I tell you, not just them, but you guys out in the chat with 16 y'all right now.
Oh yeah.
We aren't even on the topic. But you
Well,
guys
I
are
mean,
sitting here.
speaking of the
Hold on.
topic-
You guys are sitting here watching and listening and staying with us and not just blowing off and just leaving because we're not on topic.
Well,
That
The
means
chat
world
is
to us.
alive with the sound of music.
But in a way, it is
Yeah.
a little bit on topic because I want to ask JT later on with his musical acumen and Daisy with her musical acumen about what they thought about the music, the diegetic music, the incidental music in this episode, because I think that's an important point.
All right. Well, then let's do this because I will keep saying thank yous to this panel and to you guys in the chat all night. Share out the stream, like the missus said. Leave a like, subscribe. Let's get me back to 630. Let's get to 700. Let's get the missus to 500, and we'll have a big party very, very soon. All right. So this was the last episode of the series, episode number 13 in season 2. overall episode number 37, The Dorian Secret, directed by Jack Arnold, written by Stephen McPherson, first aired April 16th, 1981, episode 55908. In this episode, Buck helps a young woman named Asteria escape from a group of masked men on a space station. We see this in the very opening scene as we're into a hangar and searchers to get people off this planet that were rescued from another event. But she stows away. Buck lets her on the ship before she's captured by one of the Dorian guards. Buck brings her back to the searcher, but then the ship soon comes under attack by a Dorian warship whose mass leader, Koldar, demands the woman be brought back to him. Buck initially refuses handing her over, and the Dorians respond by randomly firing heat and freeze rays at the searcher, forcing the crew to endure continuously changing temperatures. Hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. Like, I don't know. A lot of people do when they play with the thermostats. It's like our use.
I was going to say it's like when you go visit your mother-in-law, but hey, you know.
Yeah. Oh my gosh! But my own mother's always cold and it's 80 in the house. Oh boy!
I mean, that's a good joke for people that understand that. But also, I think Daisy and I are going to go into some dicey history from Europe in the 1940s where this was an issue.
Well, we're going to say hello to the one, the only, the great Snortopoophus Q. Burr. Hello, humans and other critters. Good, and I think he's another one that is the relatives have now left. So hey, you and Corey have a lot of good company. Y'all have your freedoms back, my friend. Always good to see you. So, all right, that's where we have with this episode. We had the hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. Finally, Koldar reveals that she's wanted for murder. Agrees to take Buck over to the ship.
That was not her name. Her name was
no. Koldar finally reveals that Asteria is wanted for murder.
Oh, right. Okay.
He reveals it to the audience and to Buck that Asteria is wanted for murder, but Buck does not believe it. Instead, tries to learn a secret that she's hiding. We see this at the beginning. She's very mysterious, very leery, and of course, Koldar would not say. Finally, they did relent. They told Buck. They brought Buck over onto the ship, showed him all the evidence that they had, and demanded to do trial. We'll get into a lot of the details back and forth with that as we hit your talking points. But meanwhile, the ungrateful little suffering passengers that were just rescued from one predicament now are whining. They are on the search or demand that Buck surrender the woman before they take drastic action themselves. As we see, we have back and forth. We'll talk about the episode, the way it ends, just a minute. Guest stars in this were Devon Erickson as Asteria Elifa, Denny Miller as Saurus, William Kirby Cullen as Demeter, Walker Edmiston as Koldar, Michelle Marsh as Clace, Dennis Haysbert, once again your All-State guy, as Ensign, and Stuart Nesbitt as Rand, and Eldon Quick as Kronos. We got a Kronos on the show. Basically, folks, where it is, we've got the episode. We talk. They're on the ship. They present. They accuse her of murdering Koldar's son. Buck looks at the evidence, which is just flimsy videotapes, just some videotape. But you see the drama building with the heat and cold. A lot of the focus on this episode were the survivors that were caught in the middle about being hot, cold, and you see them coming to a big whole. Well, what do we do? Well, let's take action in our own hands. Let's give them what they want, but so we're not uncomfortable. And there's a deeper message into this whole story, and we'll talk about that. I know Hungry has points on that as we get to it. And then finally, when they finally give in, things happen to where Buck calls a bluff of, hey, just execute now. And everybody starts to get that guilty conscience. But then we see that the guilty conscience was actually Koldar's other son, who then confessed that he was responsible. It was an accident. And then Everybody goes back. I puke the end. Everybody goes happy. Well, we think they do happy until the very last scene. It really, which I do have some thoughts on that very last scene. But
yeah, I bet you do.
But anyway, so that's my synopsis of the episode. So, folks, let us go with the ladies first. We will start with Daisy. What do you want to start off with this episode in your show notes?
Wow, I didn't think you'd start with me.
Okay.
I have one question, and then someone else can go. It's a wardrobe question.
Okay.
So one of the survivors from the colony, she was wearing a pink miniskirt dress with white accents with cutouts in the arm.
I noticed.
Did we see that exact costume earlier in this season or last season? Because I thought I'd seen that dress before.
Oh, I got costume notes, but it was familiar. I wouldn't say it was exactly the same, but we know Glenn. We know Glenn, dear old Glenn. He is the master of recycling. And so we had some recycling in this episode, but to be fair, these are in my notes later regarding costumes and also props. They did try harder in this final episode, so I think that some people did not know it was going to be the final episode, and I think some people did, and they tried harder. And I think some of the budget went harder, which I'll go into later. But now, JT, your turn, please.
In reference to Daisy's question, I cannot recall.
Okay.
But it looks similar. Yeah, I basically agree with you. It would not shock me if you said, this was from episode 3.
I mean,
it wasn't a bad thing. I was just, they had her right in the front row, and so I noticed the kind of mimicking a midi skirt 60s, early 70s kind of look with and part of the arm, and I thought it looked very familiar. It wasn't a bad thing.
Well, Hungry pointed out, I guess that you reused some Battlestar Galactica stuff early in the first season, so would not be surprised. No.
Well, I mean, also they would reuse parts of costumes from the first season and then alter them for this episode and other episodes. And as I mentioned, regarding the terrible Blue Cree dwarf episode, they actually bought masks.
Come on, dude. Really, just a little Smurf. Okay, who was worse, him or Gary Coleman?
Smurf.
Smurf
was worse. Thank you, Daisy.
Okay, all right, just asking.
But there were a lot of original things in this episode. So, Daisy and JT and Dadman, are you okay if I just bring up some of the visuals? That
Please go ahead.
Original?
Go for it.
This is your area, and we'll feed off that. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. So, one of the things. I mean, there are a couple of things, about 3 that I really appreciated visually, because, sometimes they cheap out on the ships, sometimes they cheap out on the costumes, sometimes they cheap out on other things. But the Dorian ship really struck me, and the visuals, the special effects were very well done. But you look at the way they're presenting the culture, and this is something important to Star Trek and other science fiction shows. The shape, the form of a starship it is supposed to reflect the culture and their predilections, their tenets, their point of view. And the Dorian ship was large, efficient, capable, and although it was a bit chunky but not fat, it looked like a shark in space. And I thought with the way that they were presenting the Dorian culture, that was very apt. And they were putting in a little bit extra effort in this final episode of the season. And then you had a few, sorry, my voice is a bit creaky tonight. A few of the costumes of the transported passengers, which we see at the beginning, they did indicate different aspects of their society. And that would be the case for even a single planet, even though all these people are coming from a single planet, with the exception of our heroine, our guest heroine, in this episode. You look at somebody when this was made, 1981. Okay, You look at someone from Brazil on a plane. They would not dress the same as somebody from Poughkeepsie in New York or somebody coming from Rio de Janeiro. There would be these slight differences in fashion sense due to the culture. And yeah, I mean, there were a couple of the women wearing things that looked like what my mother and her friends would wear to a dinner party or cocktail party at the time. But there was a little bit of effort put in there. And then we have the cultural aspects represented by both visually and then in terms of the graphics, the design of the Dorian mask culture. And those were a delight because they indicated not just social rank and caste, but also represented a little bit of the psychological and emotional aspect of the individuals because they were hiding their faces. And as we know, and I know Daisy's going to go into this and JT's going to go into this, the fact that you have the fake face become your public face, which becomes your personal face. And I thought that was very deep for a Buck episode. So that's all I have to say about
Let me say hello real quick to Putin's cat.
Hey, Putin.
Hey, how are you, Putin's cat? Welcome. And this is I've got a picture here of Astaria. I get some of these names. Here we go. Here you can see
Listeria. Yeah,
Listeria. Yeah, that's what.
Wisteria.
Well, it's funny how all the guys look the same. We don't get to see another female. I mean,
I wouldn't mind.
The guys all well, if the
that's
what I was
budget.
wondering.
That's budget, dude. That's budget. They had to spend so much at the end to do those replicate faces. You know, and honestly, they did pretty well with the technology of the time for special effects. But there was a moment, and I'm sure that Daisy caught it, I'm sure that JT caught it, where you could actually see where they film dissolved when they were taking off the masks. I know you guys caught that.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll go ahead and answer this. Putin's cat. No, Wilma didn't do Jack in this episode. Once again,
not true.
Nope.
Not true.
Well, she kind of. Okay,
we're not making fun of you, Putin's cat. We're not making fun. We're not making fun of you. We're just saying Wilma actually had some significant agency here because she's the one that pretty much dragged Hawk off to to try to solve a major problem.
Yeah, the riot. I got you. To me it was I didn't catch a connection, but I know you guys are a lot smarter.
Wore her stewardess outfit. The stewardess uniform around to everybody and asked them if they would like anything to eat or drink.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
You know, that's what Air Force colonels do all the time.
Of course.
She also sat at a typewriter desk in battle stations, you know. She went up there to push the buttons. Remember that scene too?
Well, you know, the last time I was on a C-130, I'm sure, the colonel came by and asked me if I needed anything to drink or eat.
Yes.
Would you like more peanuts?
Honey roasted, I'm there.
Right. Honey roasted peanuts are good. Wilma in the roller skater drive-in burger girl outfit is not good.
We had Wilma in a couple of episodes in a fighter.
Yeah.
It made me kind of mad, but I already
well, y'all both jumped on me right there, and I'm like, okay, what did I
was
mess
already
up?
fed up about it enough. Like I was like,
y'all scared me. I thought I messed up. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, tell us what you think about it.
Well,
here.
I mean, I already pretty
Welcome
much
to
said
the world.
it. But,
can I take your order, please?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when I saw that, and I was like, they're seriously doing that. And I was like, you know what? I'm expecting too much for them not to go there.
Right.
But as the actress, I don't know. Do you refuse to do it? What are they going to do? Fire you off the last episode?
Okay, there's some insider baseball there, JT. Wilma was always Erin Gray was always willing to do the classic Lycra outfits, but the thing is that she had been complaining about the amount of preparation time it took to get her into those outfits. and it was a lot of preparation time, and they were very uncomfortable. And back then, we did not have the modern lighting systems we have for sets today. Those sets were very hot. So one of the ironies of this episode is they're talking about the temperature getting above 95 degrees. Well, when they were filming, the temperature would have been above 95 degrees for the actress.
Right.
So I can't complain about the Sailor Moon outfit that much, because it would have been far more comfortable than being trapped in skin tight lycra. Now, I want the skin tight lycra. I can't lie about that. And it would have been nice to have one skin tight lycra 3-second moment in the final episode.
For old time's sake, Wilma.
I love the actress, and I want her to be comfortable.
It seems to me in season 1, in the same episode, we could see her in 2 or 3 different outfits.
Right.
Rather than simply wearing one. Now I realize that takes costume changes, and you've got to make sure if there's any reshoots that you're wearing the right thing and yada, yada, yada. But whatever.
But don't have her going around offering Coke, water, or coffee.
Okay, and you have her
wine for $7. Like, come on.
Okay, you have her do that. Yeah, and here's the code for the Wi-Fi.
Exactly.
That's me. Sorry, my backup my backup thing was not muted.
Okay.
I was like, as the actress, I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little too high and mighty. I need to get off my own high horse, but you just say, how dare you do this to this character? I'm not gonna do that.
Right.
Well, and then you have her do that, but she doesn't stay in the room to stop people from being.
Yeah.
Where is security? I'm sorry. Where is security on this ship, and why aren't they stationed in there just to make sure everyone is cool, everyone is calm, or take the young lady out of the room? It's not that hard. The ship is not that small.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not even a ship, it's a Tylenol. But hey, I digress. Back to my good old favorite airplane movie. But but you had that. When they went to battle stations, she went and sat at the normal desk like every other peon. There's no, once again, there's not that colonel, that militaristic tough aspect from it. It's just like it's now a colonel in name only. With her. Yeah. And the uniform just does not help. Because like you said, she could have take charge in there with the civilians and cutting them down, and you don't like it, you go to the brig or something else. You be proactive, and you would have thought she would have been more proactive and not just sitting around. I think this is one of the problems we see with Colonel Deering compared to the first season, especially when we saw how she put Buck in his place and was demanding all this. But now, like, you can even see it in this frame. It's like she's like puzzled, like, oh, what do we do? Not, I know what I'm going to do, and you guys sit down and shut up.
You know what I would have really liked to have seen Wilma do?
What's that?
Hang out in that room, and when that loudmouth stood up, started saying that we need to kick the Dorian out, I would have liked to see her raise her blaster pistol and smoke him right in the chest and say, anyone else got any opinions?
I can't disagree. I cannot disagree.
Then, that
well, cool. In season 1, we're going to talk about this when we're talking about the overall overview of the series. You look at the first 3 episodes with Wilma. Wilma would pull her sidearm at the drop of a hat.
Yep. Yep.
You know what I mean? And that's one of the reasons we loved her. But here she has been, what is the young person's term? Nerfed?
Nerfed.
Yes.
Yeah. And
I don't think she's wearing her sidearm with this outfit.
Nope.
Well, it would get in the way of the beverage cart.
No.
Well, you could use it to warm up the coffee.
She had to save that space for the extra peanuts, JT.
Right. She might confuse the ice, the blaster pistol, so you can't carry both.
but this is leading to a point based off JT's point. So I mean, okay, one of the reasons we're not having Wilma confronting the butthead in the passenger situation is because we had a great character actor who was also very physically. Wow.
Oh,
Let me
yeah.
say he was built. Denny Miller is his name. Not Dennis Miller, but Denny Miller.
Was he a former athlete? I was wondering, because he was very well built and incredibly tall.
Yes, and also he played Tarzan. He was in $6 million Man. He was in Magnum PI. He was in the
That's where I recognize him from. Thank you.
Right. And he is actually a very good actor, but he also just happened to be very physically well built, and he took care of himself. And so he had subtlety. Yeah, like you do, exactly. I mean, we all know you look like Sylvester Stallone from 1982, and we accept that, man.
Are you talking about Kronos, son of Kalpek, Klingon warrior?
No, the tall blonde dude, and I don't think he looked Klingon, but the Klingons would have liked him.
Oh, you know what the tall blind in this episode looked like? The guy in the great Australian national anthem video, Down Under. You know, he did the guy a sandwich.
You son of a bitch!
What?
I can't believe he did that.
Yeah. He's like, he gave him a sandwich. He just smiled and gave me a Vegemite sandwich, and he said, "Anyway, Simply Steve, welcome here, welcome, Simply Steve. We are having fun all over the place tonight.
That's a good joke. That's a good joke. I like that.
Yeah. Oh gosh. But see, Phantom Outsider brings up the point. If she had peanuts, considering the proliferation of peanut allergies in the 25th century, they might have been super lethal. Always thinking outside the box, Phantom Outsider.
But before we close off on Denny Miller, not Dennis Miller at all, Denny Miller, I think that I believe that Daisy would agree with me. It is wonderful to see a guy who is mainly known for his physical presence, but you have the director understand what he's capable of, and he got to be one of the most sensitive souls in this episode and be the one to challenge the awful things that other people were trying to do in the passenger section.
Yeah, and exactly. He was the conscience.
He was.
I mean, when he stood up and stared down the guy when they sat down the first time, I was thinking, yeah, you go sit down.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But he did very well.
Well, speaking of somebody that does very well, stunning and brave Megatron nuts. Oi! He said, man, that's just nuts.
But, sometimes in these episodes of shows, particularly way back when, they are speaking for the conscience of the audience. And so that shows good acting and also good screenwriting. When they know what they're doing, the writer, they don't know who's going to be cast for their script. They just trust that maybe the right person is going to be cast for that role. Yeah. And I think in this occasion, we had somebody who was perfectly cast for that role in the screenplay.
Well, an example that was from the movie Alien, because the lady that played Lambert, the navigator, actually was reading for the part of Ripley. Yes. And didn't find till they got on set that they did not get Ripley. They were doing the other part. And they were kind of mad about it, but they put her off in there. And actually, she did a really, really good job. But that's your whole point. To your point, though, is you don't know what they do. So let's go ahead and jump into the elephant in the room with this one too, about the whole moral judgment with the scene with everybody right in there. You got the crowd, and they're like, okay, and they're defiant until they're inconvenienced by heat, cold, and folks, what's happening is, when the hot is just not a little bit up, it's like baking them. And then they all of a sudden you get all that sweat. Then they go to freezing cold to where it would almost freeze on you. And they kept getting worse, more intense each time as it kept going on and on. And once they learned that there was a passenger and the reasons for it, the debate broke out. Let's give him over. Let's not give him over. And then finally, as conditions worsened and worsened, they finally voted to give Asteria over.
And you're alluding
and they
to
knew.
Yes. Go ahead, Daisy, please.
I'm sorry. I was going to point out that they were told that the murderer was a murderess. the bad guy, I can't remember his name, I'm sorry. He said he said it's a murderess.
Right.
So immediately in this group of people that are in a room, you can count out the men. It's got to be one of the women. So now the men are getting, we got to figure out which woman it is. We're going to go question all of you. You need to tell us why you're on this ship and what you're doing and what your past was. And that's rather scary as a female to just suddenly go, okay, I have to justify my whole, first of all, it's none of your business, but I have to justify my entire life because you're going to make all of us women, each individually and as a group, we're obviously guilty until you decide we're innocent. And that was a very scary situation to me.
Excellent point. And also, the middle-aged bad guy in the episode, he actually suggested an inquisitorial version of questioning each woman, one by one. And this is, I'll go into it later, but I want to hear more of what Daisy has to say and then JT has to say, because I got a lot of points about this, because it is, I'm just going to give the hint. This is very World War II. This aspect has a lot to do with giving up the person the bigger power wants and saving our own skins by giving up that person. And as a kid, that terrified me. Watching it again in my middle age, 4 decades later, still terrified me because that shit is still going on. And the fact that a little bit of the genderism was added to it, made it worse, if you know what I mean, Daisy. It made it worse. And I have more to say, but I'd like to hear what you and JT have to say about it.
Well, I would say I was impressed. Well, it changed dynamic quickly. One of the women was there with another woman. We don't know what the relationship was, whether they were friends or sisters or whatever. But the blonde lady, she did get very incensed, as in, no, you will not ask me questions. Why do any of us have to answer your questions? You know, and she was very incensed. And then the gentleman tended to stand up, which is a domineering thing, when this poor woman is seated, to say, well, yeah, you have to answer our questions. We have to weed it out. Maybe it's you, he said to her.
And then she stood up and faced him down.
And then she did. She stood up and she was like, none of that. And in the beginning, they sort of, people would back down. But then, of course, there was the ship that wanted the murderess. They turned the heat up, and I guess the implication was well over 100. As a person who lives in a desert, that is incredibly, it's just very difficult to deal with. And the ship had no control, so they could not change the temperature of the searcher. And then, as Hungary said, sorry.
Henry!
As I know, I'm sorry. That was just this was a dyslexic moment. I'm so sorry. I apologize.
That's all right.
Hungry. I'll get it.
Well, hey, you got it, Daisy. You know we do.
Hey, at least you didn't call me Clobby, right, Dadman?
No, I do it all the time. But
geez.
guess what? We have now tonight have hit a record at one time, I think, on this stream. We have actually got 20 people here on the YouTube side.
Nice.
Excellent.
So thank y'all. Hit that like button, share it out, subscribe to everybody. I've got to recognize a couple people before we continue the party on, because we have no show after. But hey, it's a party now. Lady V Elements is here.
Hello, Lady
Hello,
V.
Lady V. And she says hello to you guys too. So, and of course, she's throwing out a lot of love to everybody around, and the missus, I know. So,
and
see right there. Yep, missus. And then there's Thay down here. Thay, good to see you tonight. How are you doing? The cephalopod, right?
That's a perfect pronunciation. Thank you. Cephalopods are some of my favorite creatures. Thank you, Dadman. Well
I've
done.
seen other people refer to him as that, so I'm glad I could pronounce it correct. So, all right, good to see you tonight, Thade. Yes, and Mrs. is saying now. So, yeah, it really was a lot with this episode that we had there. And
well,
it was
just before we go on, can I bring up something, because Daisy was bringing up the feisty blonde, and God, IMDb is so sloppy. I could not find the actress's name. It was so sloppy, but I really admired her, even though her performance was a little bit 1950s, and you know what I mean, Daisy. But the thing is that, and then I want to hear what you and JT have to say. She reminded me of the tough chicks in the French Resistance during 1940s France. We are not going to give up this person. Screw you, you know. And who
gave you, in essence, who gave you the authority? And you do not get to start. You know, you've already divided the men from the women. It's an us against them, and now you're gonna, you know, single each one of us out. And then she was not having any of that.
I think she even superseded gender. I think she was talking about, you know, superimposed morality, and this little jumped up middle-aged guy who decides that he's the leader of the group. And then Denny Miller actually says, who assigned you to be the leader of the group?
Yeah.
There was a challenge there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And she was tough. I mean, Blondie, she was tough, and she did not allow any ground to be given. And I really admire that. I'll be honest, Daisy, you know, I like the tough chicks. You know, I like them. I'm not a shrinking violet wallflower kind of guy. And so when she stood up, that was not just a bit of a secondary character having a few lines to pad out the episode. This actually had a lot to do with the theme of the episode and also the plot. It was so well written.
And she continued to resist when her friend was weakening under the being too hot, being too cold. She kept trying to tell her friend, no, this is not how we are.
But in the end, resistance was futile.
Yes, that's true.
God.
That's JT. Nice.
Majority rules.
Yes.
You set it up for me it was a nice underhand slow pitch. So
but in all fairness to a lot of the people, though, is they did hold out for a long time. They did try to hold that thing, the line, and then, you know, the continued wearing down of the physical elements. It's torture's hard enough on anybody, you know, much less just civilians. So, but
you used the T word. You used the T word. Okay, can we go there for a moment?
Yeah.
Because
watch
this is
it with YouTube.
Really,
we did.
I know, but I'm going to speak in code.
I mean, we're talking. You know what? I'm just going to vent for a little bit because that's what's so friggin' frustrating. There's stuff in friggin' history that I want to talk about, but you got to be so damn careful because of friggin' bullshit. You know, there, especially, you know, my things of several of the wars and battles and stuff, and you got to be afraid of. I mean, it's historical stuff, and it's what it was. You know, and sorry, that's just a little rampage with that because, you know, we can't have an adult discussion by having to watch our words to the point
I
know.
You know,
I agree.
Silly, you know. I mean,
but that brings up something in this episode because I'm sorry if some people don't know, but you look at the physical stress of extreme heat and then extreme cold. And I will refer to the bad jackboot Berliners here, speaking in code. And those were experimentations that they put on people they had control over in 1940s Europe. That happened. And I thought that this was a very gutsy thing, even though it was a nuanced allegory, not spoken directly. It was almost a euphemism for them to use the hot and then cold and the hot and then cold. And that was what certain people were doing to certain other people in the 1940s during a certain war. And I thought, my God, as a kid, I knew this, but as an adult, it really struck me rewatching this for tonight. I was amazed they had the guts to do that. I'm amazed that the network allowed them to do that. And
I don't know. I think sometimes that people just don't get the deeper messages. They just watch something at a higher level and don't look beyond
True.
For the deeper meaning.
Good point.
And I think especially sometimes in Hollywood with the executives, do they know the history? Probably not. They're just looking for something that resonates with people.
I think the writer did, and the writer.
Oh, I don't disagree. The writer, but the thing is that the executives, the censors, all the people that decide what can or can't be shown. So.
Yeah.
So Phantom Outsider says
that was a very hard. Yeah. That was a very hard thing to take with the hot and the cold for people who knew people who survived.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Well, see, and like Phantom Outsider said, he was surprised there was no. Okay, so if we give this person who's next, what do they demand someone else? My rule, no rule at all. Exactly.
Good point, Fancy. Good point.
So, can we talk about that device for a minute?
Cold,
yes.
The
ray.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
The Bengay ray.
Ray Skywalker.
No.
Bengay, like icy hot.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, I like calling it the Bengay ray.
Yeah, can't see colors in space. Okay.
Well,
go ahead, JT.
That was one of the reasons this device is impossible. Okay, because in order to achieve this effect, it would need to be in it would need to be in mass for it to have an effect. And the reason I'm saying this is first of all, the cold, you're already in a vacuum in space. How are you going to get a beam colder than space to then project and be out and around the ship and completely surround the ship? Colder than space, right?
I know how cold space is.
Already insulated to protect you against energy loss in the coldness of space.
In the coldness of space.
Similarly, it would also reject that amount of heat. And so if you were going to try to heat up the ship, you're going to have to put it like in a basically like a boiling pot of water, where you can't have the thermal waste escape. And that would even assume that you could get through the insulation of the ship. Because if you focus this beam too much, you've turned it into a laser, and you're basically going to cook a hole through the ship. But if you disperse it far too much, to keep that heat in and around that ship to the point where you're going to heat it up any measurable amount, is going to take a tremendous amount of energy, and you're just it is not a workable weapon whatsoever. Hungry. Yes, I acknowledge the allegory behind it, right? In the symbolism around this whole thing. I'm just saying, as an actual weapon, no.
I understand that, but I'm the passionate. I'm the emotional guy. I work with the creative stuff, not the scientific stuff, but I accept entirely what you were saying. And I'm sure that Daisy as a teacher was going,
yeah, I was thinking I know they needed to show, for the kids that sit in the back and don't pay attention, they needed to show the color. Look, red, hot, look, cold, blue. Okay, I got it. But it would have made more sense had they been able to hijack the actual inside the ship.
Yes.
Controls for. Yes, I mean, you could have had the controls, the walls glow blue if you wanted, or whatever representation you needed for the kids that were not paying attention and didn't know what was going on. But it would have made more sense to hijack their climate control system. They did say they had no control in the ship, which then would have been, okay, so if you're not controlling the temperature like JT says, then the coldness of space would just start to creep in very quickly, because it is very cold in space. And then trying to heat it up, like he said, the heat ray would disperse too quickly. So I got you needed to have this reference of the different brays and the sound it made when it clicked from one color to the other. But yeah, because you're trying to make a point, this allegory, and it's very serious, and that part was very good, and what was going on in that room, but it's for those of us who don't sit in the back of the classroom, we're sitting there going, you keep taking me out with this ridiculous ray thing that wouldn't work.
Well,
my other thing,
let me
my
say
other
one
thing
thing
on
there.
this.
Let me go here real quick. With Simply Steve, he was saying it's more of a psychological weapon, making you think it happens when it really wasn't. But no, it really was. It wasn't.
It was.
Well, it was psychological, but we saw the physical changes too, though.
Well, we also saw the device on the bridge of the searcher measure the temperature changes, and we also had a very specific discussion, albeit quick, and thank God, because all of you hate Crichton aside from me. There was the moment you do. There was the moment where Crichton was directly asked, how can we survive this temperature? For how long? He basically said 8 hours. Now, I have been in the land of the combat wombat. I've been in 125 degree Fahrenheit. And I'll tell you, that's dangerous.
Yes.
That's very dangerous.
Very.
And you have to be constantly drinking in order to survive it for 5 hours.
Water.
Yeah. Water.
Drinking water. Yes.
Because you don't, well, it depends on the humidity. If there was no humidity in the room, you don't realize that you're sweating. Like if you live in Florida, you realize it's hot because you're just dripping. However, if you live in the desert, like I do, and as Hungry is describing, you don't sweat that way. Your exposed skin does not sweat. The reason you've sweat is because when you stand up from a chair, the back of your shirt and the back of your trousers are now wet. Because what's happening is there's no humidity and it's sucking all the moisture off of you too fast.
Right.
So it is very dangerous.
Yeah, and JT can talk about the dangers of extreme cold, can't you?
Well, yes,
JT?
yes. And every scene where it was supposedly too cold, they could have all put on spacesuits and just fixed this issue immediately.
And I think there was only one blanket. I think I saw one silvery blanket, mylar like blanket, and I'm going, why doesn't and when it was too hot, the guys didn't take their jackets off.
Yeah, so I was thinking they missed a real golden opportunity here, because really hot and really cold, you could have your most attractive extras removing clothing at strategic points in time and really made this a steamy episode. Instead,
Wilma couldn't take anything else off. Stop it, JT.
Well, I'm talking about extras, okay?
Okay. Okay.
Instead,
wow, Daisy, gee,
instead,
you are spicy.
Instead of that, Daisy,
look at that.
they have two women sitting there in clothing that you'd wear here if it was in like the 50s Fahrenheit. They have a woman wearing a long sleeve turtleneck.
Yep.
Complaining about how hot it is. I'm like, lady, I couldn't wear that even if it was below freezing out because it's going to be too damn hot.
Oh, dear.
Sorry, it took me out of it immediately. You're like, oh, it's too hot. I'm like, well, yeah, no shit. Sorry for swearing, but
that's okay. It was. They didn't handle the
for a second.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But space blankets should have been readily available. No, I'm serious, because they would retain the heat. Yeah. And the next thing you're going to do once you disperse these blankets is find a hat.
Well, they did though a little bit later. They did offer them the thermal blankets and the
yeah. But then you're also going to assemble together in a group and share body heat. And instead, they're all sitting there, totally not making this believable, like they're actually cold whatsoever.
I know. I still look. I love the episode, but to back up what you're saying, Daisy and I know how airplanes, and this is a euphemism for how people trapped on an airplane would function in this situation. And airplanes would have at least 50 blankets.
Oh, Brogu's going to
pillows.
bed.
Good
Good
night,
night,
Brogues.
Brogan. Thanks for being here.
But you guys know what I mean.
Yeah.
There. I mean, on
Back then, yes.
I mean, if a 1981 airplane has 50 blankets, then the Searcher 500 years later is going to have a lot of blankets.
Right.
You know?
Right. Or a
So I
space
get what you're
heater.
saying.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
they could always knock Crichton apart and try to melt him
wish.
or something for heat.
I wish.
So, that scene, I had the biggest issues with the practicality and then the depiction. I thought the actual moral or ethical dilemmas on this, you don't know what the group is going to do in every situation. You would like to say that you're going to be the woman that said, we're not playing that game with anyone, go stuff it. Or, honestly, I figured I'd probably be that guy. He's like, let's think about it logically. We kick her off. She might live. She might die.
The gambler.
But we
You're
all
speaking
live.
Of the gambler, right? Yes.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a very Vulcanian way of looking at this.
Oh no, that's a 1942 Europe way of looking at things.
So I'm like, I might actually take his method on that and say, you know what, we're just gonna do this. And it's hard to say what you're gonna do till you get in that situation, but you give some kind of logical equation like that, kind of hard to argue it.
Well, to back you up, JT, you are I would argue the most Star Wars, even though you're younger, the most Star Trek guy that we have on this panel. Okay, it was a slip. I apologize. but
don't cross the streams.
You got close there, sir. You got close. I had my hand on
I pulled back right at the end. But the thing is, the needs of the many versus the needs of the few, and you know what I mean.
Or the one. And I mean, this is why I thought the script was very good, because these are significant issues to take into account. And even though the gambler clearly was not a family man, he looks at the odds because he's a gambler. He said that in the script. And therefore he's going to know there's a pregnant woman sitting very close to him. There is a family right there, and he's going to know the statistics. And there are probably a lot of people with family in that contained area. So even though he seems like he's being a butthead, even if it's accidental, he's taking the needs of the many rather than the needs of the few. And that's hard for us to take in a science fiction script. But if you don't have hard things to consider, and Daisy knows what I mean, in a science fiction script, then it's not really science fiction anymore. You know what I mean, Daisy?
I also think it would be, in that situation, because of who I am, what would run through my mind is, okay, let's say we do this and they kill her. How do I live with myself for the rest of my life knowing I did not try to stop this with every fiber of my being? Because this is just, we don't have the same rules as these people. Who have attacked a peaceful ship. It's not even a warship.
A sovereign ship.
Yes. And the ship, the Searcher, has its own way of doing how you present evidence and to see if she really did.
On the other side of that, you don't know if they're going to delete her. And if they did or not, that was their choice, not yours. And they could have just as easily applied so much Bengay that everyone would have been incapacitated or deleted as well. And then you all would have been deleted. And no one's living with your choice then, because no one's living. Right.
That is what the gambler said. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's interesting, right? It's like I said,
in the chat
it's hard to know who you would be.
That's true. Oh no, I get that. I get that. And you were just guessing what you might do, and you might not actually do it. And I'm just guessing what I might do. No, I'm not in that situation, so I don't know. it's I mean, in a lot of things that happen in life, something awful happens to someone and we go up and say, oh, I'm so sorry, I know how you feel. And you might not actually, because you've never been through whatever it is they've just been through. I mean, you're trying to be polite and supportive, but to the other person, they may be going, yeah, you have no clue.
Well, yeah.
Well, I mean, this actually brings up.
Let me take one of Fan Outsiders. I got a few comments we started to come back to, but he's like, here's the problem with giving up people up in the old Lone Ranger shows. The first thing the mob always wanted was Tondo, not because they really liked him. So he's like, so Fan Outsiders. So no, you don't give people up.
Well, and someone in the chat earlier did say, what happens if you give her up and then they demand something else because you inconvenience them or whatever, or they have some other rule they haven't told you about harboring fugitives, or
a slippery slope, Daisy, a slippery slope. And this goes back to, and I'm sorry, I just got to say it. This goes back to two things that were happening that we were all, well, it was happening in the 40s, and then it was happening in the late 1970s. So in the 40s, we have the whole situation, and I hate to say it directly, but the Diary of Anne Frank, who do we give up to save ourselves? And then you have another situation, which is, and I think this was very much a part of what the writer of this episode had in mind. You had the 1978 to 1979 hostage crisis in America.
Yep.
And you know what I mean, Daisy, because we had to grow up with that. And
yes,
I am very impressed with the fact that I think this was being directly referenced in an illusionary, allegorical way, but it was very dicey. This was very much of a risk. It was very much of a gamble, and we have a gambler in the character set, and I admire that. I really, really admire that in terms of this episode. And it had the guts to show how bad people could be, even in 500 years past when Buck got frozen. And we're having some of the same issues come up. So, in terms of plot, I think this episode might fail on certain issues that JT is talking about. But in terms of theme and the expression of theme, I think it was magnificent and marvelous. And they even, actually, I'm going to save that point for another time, but I'd like to hear what you think about those issues, theme versus plot here.
JT, you want to go first?
I think JT stepped away.
Yeah, Daisy, I'd like to look. You are a person who teaches, so you understand history, and you remember what I remember from when we were kids. What do you think about the theme versus plot here in regards to what I was just saying? Mixing the Anne Frank thing, but then we're also mixing a certain hostage situation that we had to go through.
Yeah, in 79 and 80.
But see, I'm having more of a problem on that second part because, I mean, when they're over there, that was just, I mean, there was U.S. property in a foreign country. It was pretty much taken up. You did, at least, unless there's something I did not know about trying to hide people and not turn them over. I mean, that obviously in the 40s was a big thing that we've seen plenty of examples. Plenty of examples. And like you said, with that one right there, I mean, by itself, that would be enough you don't need a more modern reference. But, yeah,
the Searcher is sovereign territory. And they are making demands and holding everyone on that ship hostage.
Okay.
And it's not their territory.
Right. And that was brought up by Buck directly.
Yeah.
Because this episode was in 81.
He called them the T word without calling them the T word. And you know which word I mean. People who basically
lesbians.
Yeah, right. Nice one. But and I'm not talking gender, I'm talking politics, the T word. The T word I'm trying not to say.
And folks, let's not get into all the political history of what happened over there. What we're doing is we're trying to associate the loose side of the events. What
That's
the
why
U.S.
I'm
may or may not have.
speaking in euphemistic.
I know, but I'm
The
just
chat.
letting the chat know that we don't need to what happened and what we did or not did. That's not the point. What we're trying to make here, what we're trying to make here is the element of a situation in the parallels in the show that we see today. So,
yeah, in an allegory sort of way.
We did not bring it up like that, Putin's cat, but we are ending it right now. We are not going into politics with this. Whatever happened in the 70s and before in Iran and stuff is not what we're talking about tonight here. We're talking about how sovereign territory was captured and put under control against their will and the people that were there. That is the part of we're taking a look at it with the parallel. That's why I asked Hungry why he had that point, and Daisy helped clarify the angle that we're talking about it, and that's as far as we're going with that tonight. So go ahead, Jay. Oh, we got Sci-Fi Sit Dan here.
Yeah.
Hello, Sci-Fi Sit Dan. Welcome. Good to see you.
Welcome.
Yes. Go ahead, JT. Did you have something?
No. Well, I have many things, but nothing related to that. It was going to be more of a subject change.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So there was a second kind of larger message to this that I know everyone has in their notes. It's impossible to ignore the taking off of the mask.
Right.
And so when I saw this, I viewed this episode then in totality, and it's not a copy. But if you were to watch these two episodes as part of the same show back to back, you'd say, why did I see the same episode 2 weeks in a row? This is probably about 2/3 shared with Let That Be Your Last Battlefield.
Oh God, I knew you were gonna say that. Oh God.
I should have asked.
No, I want to hear what you have to say. That's why I was silent about it until now.
So,
keep going.
For those that don't know, Star Trek Season 3, Let That Be Your Last Battlefield.
The original Star Trek.
Yes.
The original.
Yes. This is the episode where most of the folks have half their face painted black and half their face painted white. And all of them have white on one side, black on the other, except for a few of them have it reversed. And that's like the big difference between them. And so there was a pursuit of the one that was not like the others, and they were wanted for the crime of so on and so forth. So there are some high level similarities.
Oh, you mean Glenn Larson stole something?
At the end,
I have another one.
Basically, the lesson is learned. You don't treat people based on that kind of a difference. And I feel like we had a similar message this week from Buck at the end, where he was was kind of like, look, you're going to go to this new planet. Hopefully some of y'all learn something here. Otherwise you're going to be in big trouble.
De facto Kirk. Yes. Buck was de facto Kirk here. Yes.
So, again, not identical, but first cousins, we'll put it that way. First cousins, which is not a bad thing. But when I saw this, I was like, was Glenn Larson being cheeky with trying to relate to Let That Be Your Last Battlefield? We heard you, Hungry.
No.
But relating it to Let That Be Your Last Battlefield, and this being his second canceled show on the final episode, I just, the conspiracy theorist part of me was like, I'm twisting the string around the push pins and making the connections. So anyway, what does everybody else think about that?
I think he's ruined my earphones. I apologize. I had to take them off. So you're probably going to hear an echo from me for a little bit. I apologize.
A little bit. Not too bad.
I think there was an allusion to a Twilight Zone episode.
Two of them. Yes.
Well, one was Eye of the Beholder.
Yes, I have that in my notes. Well done.
Yes.
Go on, please.
Oh yeah, it's Hungry. I think Hungry.
Your earphones. Yes, his headphones.
Oh no.
StreamYard's kicked my earphones, not my microphone.
Oh no!
I'm sorry.
Well, we're going to have to deal with a little bit of echo, folks. Sorry,
I apologize.
What happened? Sorry. Go ahead.
Daisy, you were talking about Eye of the Beholder and other...
So in the episode of Twilight Zone called Eye of the Beholder, which was in 1960, so well before this one.
Yeah.
It's this woman has bandages all over her face, and she's in a hospital, and you never really see. You only see the medical staff
in shadow,
in shadow or from behind, or you never really get a good look at them. And
right.
and they're saying, we've done everything we could, my dear, and we've really tried to fix it. And she's just, I just want to be normal, and please, and it's got to work. And by the end of the episode, they take the bandages off, and it is this gorgeous young lady. Beautiful face. It is black and white, but her beautiful hair and her beautiful face. And she looks in the mirror.
Yeah.
Thank you. And she just screams like, oh, no, 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 no. And then you see all of the people on this planet, and they have what we would call very deformed faces.
Yes.
All in the same way. So they do look like they're all the same race. And she can't survive with them because she's got this beautiful face. She doesn't look like them. So she is not normal.
Yes.
And Buck made a comment about how beautiful Asteria is. Why would you hide your face? I don't see what the issue is. Why do you people have to hide your face?
Horror in the final moment of this episode of Buck. Right.
So he kept saying, you're beautiful, and she was, not accepting of that. And then when you get to the end, you understand what the problem is. Yes, she's beautiful. So are all the other females. That's as far as I'm going to say.
Oh, well, I mean, come on. Let's, can we do spoilers here for a moment before I try to rectify my microphone?
It's a 50-year-old show, 40-year-old show.
Yeah, you're not spoiling anything.
Yeah, go ahead.
Look, okay, this is one of my favorite parts about this episode, and I love it. I absolutely adore it. We have had previously in season 1 of Buck, we have had someone take off their mask because they're mutated and they look horrible. We know the Phantom of the Opera trope. We know all of this. But the writer actually took the time to create something that was absolutely horrific. Conceptually horrific. The idea that you cannot look, they're setting us up to think mutations are horrible Hiroshima stuff, horrible science fiction stuff. And no, the mutation is we all look alike. And that would be maddening. That would cause insanity. And that's actually brought up by everybody. And we have everyone taking off their masks at the end of the episode, and they're all the same face. That would be horrible.
So all of the men look the same, and then all of the women look the same.
Right.
We surmised that all the women look the same.
This is true. We only saw one.
That was probably budget. Yes. But I mean, honestly, I think if they had the budget, they would have done that. But imagine, because we can extrapolate, Scrabble word for the night. Extrapolate. Daisy knows what I mean. That if this is happening to the men, it's happening to the women. Now imagine that the person you fall in love with has the face of your grandmother. That's messed up. That is science fiction horror right there. Even though we're not seeing radiation scar tissue, even though we're not seeing bulbous boils, the idea, the very notion that every representative of two genders on a planet have the same face, that is horrific.
There's some weird Oedipus grossness going on there, isn't there?
Oh my gosh, we talked about Oedipus in Fortnite the other night with somebody with the mythology over at Hades land. So extrapolate. We are not salt shakers.
Exterminate.
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 I'm a salt shaker.
God.
Or
Sorry.
You
or
bitch.
Star Trek TOS Changeling.
My earphones are back.
Sterilize,
I'm sorry. I
sterilize.
had to fix Streamline.
Yep.
Sterilize.
Sterilize. Sterilize.
So my thing at the end,
Yes, that was you.
I appreciated that. I was like, whoa, this kind of feels like the Twilight Zone or Star Trek here for a minute.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But now, Hungry, you brought up that they did some special effect to put the head on or the face on. I didn't see that.
What are you
when they were
referring
revealing? When they were uncovering the mask.
That was an optical effect. An optical effect. That's not a. They use the same actor over and over again, and there's one moment where you actually see the dissolve happen. That's a cinematic term, a dissolve, where they're taking two separate pieces of film and they're combining them together. And back at this point, I kid you not, they were doing it with tape. Okay?
I did not know.
It looked like it.
I didn't know why they just didn't dress up the same actor in all the different costumes and just have him take the mask off.
It is kind of what they did, but when they wanted two of them to be near each other, I can't remember. It was in the 60s or 70s, and they would do, twins who were separated, and then they needed to get their moms or dads back together, and they pretended to be the other, and they'd split screen. And so you could see that happening when they did this.
Because I didn't think they did put two next to each other after that. I thought it was always just one per frame.
Well, that's kind of correct. The thing is, it was one actor, and the thing you had Sauron. I can't believe they called him Sauron. Jesus Christ! I'm going to be going into names in this episode for Daisy's sake later, because the Greek names, Daisy, the Greek mythology names are killing me in this episode, even though I love the episode. Okay, I mean, honestly, hold on. We have Demeter as a male, being the son of Kronos. Okay, for anyone who knows Greek mythology, no. No.
Where is Kronos? Where is Kronos, by the way? Because every time I saw the word Kronos in there, I was thinking.
But I mean, Kronos is a male Titan, okay, and Demeter is a daughter, not son, a daughter. It's a female name, daughter of Kronos, who also was the mother of Persephone. And so it is a quintessential female name. And so that totally threw me out for a moment when I learned his name, and I had to get used to it. But you look at the actual Greek mythology aspect of Kronos, and Kronos is a severe son of a bitch. He is this is why Zeus killed him.
Don't you?
In context.
I know. I'm giving you a hard time. Sorry.
I know, but I mean, the thing, and then you even mix up this Greek stuff, and I think that JT and Daisy will appreciate this. You have a situation where you have the plot versus the theme in this episode, and a lot of times when plot is fighting against the theme, it doesn't work out. Now, in this episode, it kind of did. But in this episode, I would say this, and this is an in-joke for Daisy. Okay, Daisy, this is an in-joke for you.
Okay.
The plot is Sisyphus, and the theme is the boulder he's trying to get up the hill.
Who's Sisyphus?
Oh, damn it.
I've never heard of Sisyphus. Is that Greek?
Syphilis.
We actually, in English language now, has Sisyphean. This is an adjective. Sisyphean. Yeah. Daisy knows what I mean. But it means you have an impossible task. You have to push up an impossible way of completing the task. So Sisyphus is somebody who went to the Greek pagan version of the afterlife, the bad place, right? There's a good place and the bad place.
It's in Fortnite.
And his punishment, is to keep trying to push this boulder up a hill. Right. And he gets nearly to the top of the hill, and then it just rolls over him and it goes back and he has to start all over again. It's actually very nightmarish. And you're trying to compare the plot of this episode and have that plot work with the theme. Daisy and JT know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And it should not work, but I'm going to say it does.
But okay. Well, I'm glad Lady V liked my little reference to Cronus is usually around here a lot
Lady
too.
V, that's
sweet. Cronus ain't so mad, but Phantom says Cronus guy eats little kids. You wouldn't know anything about that when you throws that snort. Oh no, snort a poop piss.
Nom, 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 nom.
And yes, Jerry, that was definitely a lot of Greek in Battlestar Galactica. Which
and
is
Glenn A. Larson did Battlestar
That's
Galactica.
Another.
Daisy,
maybe one day we'll kick. Yeah, go ahead.
Daisy, do you agree with my slight problem with the Greek names in this?
Yeah.
Hey, listen, Snort a Poop is a good. Yeah, just because guy likes to dine out with the kids doesn't make him a bad guy.
Dagnabbit.
It's kind of a thing, and we have discussed this before with Glenn A. Larson. When someone is quote unquote inspired by things one has heard or possibly read in high school eons ago, and then chooses to honor those that have become before them and steal things, you can get these messed up versions where, like, we learned the Greek and the Roman gods when I was like a freshman or sophomore in high school, and it's been decades, and you start to get them a little confused, and you forget which ones are the Greeks and which ones are the Romans, and whether they were girls or boys or whatever, if you don't do a bit of homework and
Demeter
you're just sort of
always a girl. Demeter was always a girl. She is the corn goddess of Greece. Yes. Goddess.
But you brought up someone else where one of them.
Wait, horn goddess. Wait.
No, not horn goddess. That's a different goddess. That's Aphrodite. Corn
that's
goddess.
Horny goddess. No.
Damn it, Dadman.
No, horn. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the horn guy from the new Ghostbusters. Sorry, my bad.
Daisy, keep going.
There's something about horns though. See, like this, like Lady V here, right there. Krampus. Yeah, talk about big horns. Krampus. So the kids are bad enough.
It's scary.
You were on a roll, Daisy, and yes, I understand how there's what we learned about the Greek compared to the Roman mythos. So you have Odysseus versus Ulysses. I get that entirely. But, the audience of 1981, and you understand this, we were both young teenagers in 1981. Please keep going. But I would like to hear your educator opinion on this.
Well, I didn't have to teach that. That was high school level, and I was an elementary school teacher. But I do know that if you're going to write something, especially if you're going to use Greek names, then I realized they didn't have Google, but they did have this place called the library.
They had an encyclopedia.
And they would loan you the book. You could take the book out for free for a certain amount of time and read it.
Whoa.
I know. It's. I'm sorry. I should have had everyone sit down before I hit you with that.
We should have done a trigger
Daisy,
warning.
You are on fire tonight, Daisy. I tell you what.
Yeah, Daisy.
Well,
oh my God.
I mean, because it's kind of nice. If you could do things with it instead of just, if you wrote a story rather than it being a buffet of everything you've ever heard in your entire life.
Right.
If you could take a few things from the buffet and make a nice meal and study a little bit, it's not like it would take a million years to do it. And then you would make maybe less weirdness.
I agree with that 100%. And I mean, honestly, Daisy, come on. You and I probably spent at least 3 hours in a library on any given day when we were looking for things that we wanted to learn about when we were young.
Well, Phantom's sending you hungry. Goddess of the harvest corn is indigenous to North America. Ancient Greeks didn't have access to corn.
No, Phantom. There is a difference. There is a difference. There is what is referred to corn in Europe, but what is referred to corn in the United States, the continental, that's like all of them. That's maize. That's
No,
maize.
no,
That's maize.
no, not everywhere in America. Not everywhere. Not
North
everywhere.
and South America.
No. Oh, Rocky Top. Oh, Rocky Top. Get that corn from a jar. You know that phrase?
No.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Now
why
we're
in the
just
song they
talking
said,
about
yeah, the
in
corn,
ancient-
they get the corn from the jar. So that's anyway,
We're talking
sorry.
3,000 years ago.
I
at
know I
least.
did a bad song joke, so there you
No,
go.
it was a good song joke. It was a good song joke.
So
But, I
I'd
mean,
like
I
to
just
simply
wanted to
sing
hear him
Daisy
sing
to the
Rocky
books of this.
Top. That's all. You know.
Good old Rocky Top. Woo! I can't believe that. I'm a Florida Gator fan. I shouldn't be singing that god awful blasphemous music. Anyway, sorry. The Museum
Sorry,
of
Steve.
Text Library. So, yeah. Our grits are corn. So, hey. Oh,
Well,
there you
you
go.
know-
Corn mash made in liquor. That's how you get your corn from a jar.
But the
Ask
bottom line is whether you call it corn, you call it maize, you call it anything else. Demeter was the goddess, not a god, a female name, not a male name, of an agricultural product. That's what it comes down to. We can split hairs all we like, but it's something that was being grown via agriculture, and
or
therefore
harvested.
Demeter is not a male name. I had that they just slipped me up on this episode.
Yeah.
Especially since Demeter is the daughter of Kronos, and they put that in the episode.
Well,
damn it.
We've taken like an hour. God, snort a poopus.
Sort of poopus.
Snort a poopus.
Cornhub.
Cornhub. Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
And
Did they show-
ironically, we
did they-
had no Cornhub in this episode.
Did they show
encyclopedias are
shucking
better
the
than
corn?
Wikipedia? What's that, Daisy?
This is true, yes. Encyclopedias were much better researched and could not be changed by anybody who came in with a highlighter and a pen.
So you're saying that encyclopedias were not Wikitardia, Daisy.
They could get out of date depending on how long since the library had enough money to get a new set.
Now, go ahead, Daisy. Sorry.
But with things like Greek names and who is whose daughter or son or whatever, that would not change.
Well, I mean, this also goes back to other metaphysical philosophies, otherwise known as mythologies, where you have a lot of people from Generation X onward.
Hey, DJ.
Being named opposite gender names, just to be clever. I met, I hate to say this, I actually met a girl named Frodo. Don't get me started.
What?
No,
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
I thought you were going to say
Wait.
you met Duran Duran.
Okay,
No.
back in the
Uncalled for,
late 70s when I lived in Northern California, my husband and I saw a news on the local news at night that a family had named their son Darth Vader.
No.
Why would you do that to a child?
Right.
That's all I'm going to say. That's what we
Precisely.
said at the TV at the time.
Yep.
I agree.
Gosh, of course, this was the next logical question. You opened the door. Hungry.
My one
Actually, she was at my school at the time, and yes, she did have hairy feet, but I'm not going to explain why. I'm just going to say she was resisting cosmetic influence from the magazines. Daisy knows what I mean.
All right. Well, Lady V says she has a nephew named Jesse James, and of course, people are silly. We can agree.
Yeah.
Let me get caught up on stuff. When y'all think about, check your show notes because we spent an hour on this episode when I
good
didn't think
point.
it's possible to even do that.
My
So
whole
we had
thing,
some heavy things. But let me get. I want to catch up. If you hold that and think about that, and we'll get organized to finish. But because I've got a lot of she was a hobbit. I got a lot of stuff I'd started earlier. I want to get down those. We're here.
Okay.
Phantom Outsider said, when the episode started, I thought there was some MacGuffin Buck would need to find to release the survivors from a curse. Whenever anyone on the planet did wrong, they all take the hit. That's what he kind of suspected at first with this episode. Now, I don't know whether let's see this one here, the Dorian Gray, but society-wide. And after this latest tragedy, the survivors would have really been messed up. See, I'm not familiar with Dorian Gray. Is that a not Mark Twain? Is that Poe? Is it what?
I believe it's Edgar Allan Poe. It's
okay.
This man wanted to stay young forever, so he commissioned a oil painting.
Oscar Wilde.
It's Oscar Wilde. Okay.
Okay.
And the painting, as long as the painting was not destroyed, the painting got older and the man did not.
Okay. All right. So that really get deep. So Phantom Outsider also said in a few years she was talking about one of the other people. So one of the other things he said, wait, we all look the same. We hate that we look the same. One of us is left. We need that person back. Of course, if they leave, they'll be different people. So, yeah, the one person is different that we saw. Of course, Simply Steve hated Crichton. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
That's the correct answer. Okay.
You guys hate
Did
Crichton.
Did you hear the part about the Dorian Gray analogy?
Look, I've read Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. I don't want to talk about that. You know me, I'm a purist, and I don't want to piss off the chat. But I just oh shit, go on.
All right. Well, JT, well, we caught up with the stuff I had highlighted from earlier, but JT, because we'll try to wrap this part, but I want to make sure y'all had a chance to talk about everything with the show notes. Y'all prepared this so we can spend some time looking back.
I still have a little bit of notes, but I want to hear what JT and Daisy have to say.
We've covered most of my notes on this. I thought the ending scene taking the masks off was cool. However, the dubbing of that voice was bad. Was very, very, very bad. How dare they?
Okay.
Yeah.
At least pick an actor that might even look like that's their voice. If you're going to mess up the dubbing that poorly, the ray, the beam, doesn't work. But I did love, again, I did actually really like this episode. This one will get high marks from me. Unfortunately, this episode does not work as the final episode of the show or even the season.
Correct.
Even the season, it does not work in this spot. You could have moved it darn near any other week after the first episode because Hawk's on the ship. You could have moved it anywhere else, and I think it would have been better. Put before Smurf Man, XT Y2K or whatever his name was. I'm not going to dignify it. With
I like that one. That was very good.
I did not.
Well done.
Yeah.
And by the way, folks, we have Cerebus and Fortnite along with all the other Greek mythology. So get into Fortnite with JT, Kirk, Mrs. and me. If you haven't played yet, let's see it while it's there. Watch our streams because we have Greek mythology all in it. It's making it fun this year. So, outside of looking at some of that stuff, I think it would have done much better not being the last episode. It would be the one thing I would fix that I think would have been very fixable without changing the episode. The thing that made me angry was what they did to Wilma. We already covered it. The whole stewardess BS. She did come back later and redeem herself with more to do, but I just cannot get over. People don't realize
most people in a branch of the military in the U.S., it would be like the Army or the Air Force, where you'd have a colonel.
Yeah.
Most people don't make it to colonel because you have lieutenant, captain, major. Most people filter out by major because every level you move up, there's, you have how many lieutenants report to a captain, how many captains report to a major, how many majors report to a lieutenant colonel, then a colonel, then your generals, right? Your various levels of generals. By the time you get to colonel, you're not a young person. This is the peak, the pinnacle, the farthest most people ever get. Actually, most people never even get that far. But you have to think about it. The number of colonels versus the number of generals, more, you know what I mean? Like it's like going from college to a professional sport.
Right.
You're going from high school to college to professional. And I don't mean to say that lieutenants or captains or majors are not professional, but it's that level of filtering where you're going higher and higher and higher up. And to just treat Wilma like this, I really can't forgive them in season 2 for that, because it would be an honor, but also a sincerely tough job, a very tough job. In fact, I would argue that a colonel could command this. If it was an Air Force ship, that she could be in command easily.
Yes.
If not a brigadier general. Oh, you know what I mean? Like it's at that level. She could have commanded the ship, and they've got her getting people coffee and pushing buttons on a typewriter, and it just not even an officer level of duties. It's an enlisted level of responsibilities.
Well, we know how you feel about Admiral Asimov, and quite frankly, Wilma would have been a better commander of that ship.
Yes.
And I would have loved the relationship tension between Wilma being the boss and Buck.
Oh, that would have been great.
Well, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and wrap up on the points of this specific episode, because
I'm done with my notes. Otherwise,
well, we're starting to get into, I think, an overall concept that's kind of a good compare contrast what could have been done in the second season. So let's not lose that thought. But any other thoughts about this episode specifically? So that
those are my notes. Those are my notes. I'm ready to rate.
Hungry or Daisy?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Hungry? Any
Daisy,
last thoughts about?
You sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Hungry, any last thoughts about this episode before we grade it?
I do have a couple of thoughts. I'm going to try to make them really quick. I do respect the fact that, considering the time that the episode was aired, they brought up the concept of a kangaroo court, and I'm really embarrassed the fact that it comes from my country. And it was a kangaroo court until the end. All right.
Sure.
But then I really admired how they played out the reason for taking out the masks in the climax of the episode. I really admired that, and how the reasons for the kangaroo court might have been emotional, but then the screenwriter used that emotion to change it at the very end and bring about something very important and very emotionally satisfying to the audience.
Okay.
And I'm just avoiding certain things you want me to avoid right now, and looking at my notes. And I also really appreciate that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Fat kangaroos make lousy judges. They're too jumpy.
Too jumpy. I'm
No,
sorry.
no, but I'll tell you, Hungry. No. I mean, listen. I mean, what particular about your point? I mean, I'm not saying it not to say what you have a point. If it's about something earlier, no, because there are themes in this thing that are relevant in how we look and judge this episode.
And relevant today with what I call Twitter court. And you know what I mean by Twitter court.
Yeah.
Where emotionalism replaces actual factual evidence. And let me just bring up two things. You were very kind in asking me this, Dadman, and I really appreciate it. And I think JT will appreciate it, and Daisy will appreciate it. It's a mix of the plot and the theme.
Okay.
I brought up Chekhov's gun beforehand, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you show something in the first half or the first third of an episode, you have to bring it up and make it count by the end of the story. You must bring that up.
Right.
Otherwise, you're teasing the audience. It's about setups and playoffs. So there were two things in this episode I thought were very important.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, Buck is looking at the so-called murder of Josan, the brother of Demeter, the son of Sauron. And it is very obvious. This is obvious to me when I was a teenager, when I was watching it the first time. It's very obvious. You're in a mask culture, and you're wearing clothing that goes head to toe except for your hands. You can fake being someone else very easily. This is not visual evidence that is going to be acceptable in court. This is ridiculous. This is absurd. There is no way you could look at the evidence that Buck was shown by Demeter and think this can matter in a court of law. And then secondarily, you have regarding the kangaroo court elements, which this goes back to Australia, where the term comes from, where it's about emotion versus evidence. And I have to say, I think that the episode did very well trying to define a difference between emotional desire and evidence. And they did that in two areas. They did that in the courtroom, the de facto courtroom, but they also did that with the passengers. And I think that was beautifully handled, as best as a 1981 episode of television and sci-fi could handle it.
There was one thing, and I just thought about this, how they did in that last scene, though, that the way they televised to the passengers the effect of what they did.
Yeah.
I mean, like, hey, y'all watch what y'all decided. And you know, of course, they cut the transmission first, but you know, the horror, they're like, oh, to see the real world ramifications of what your vote was going to lead to. You know, it's easy one thing when you don't have to look and see the results of what you've done, you know, and I think that kind of gets back to the whole, you know, a lot of times people just say, you know,
we got to talk in code about that. We got to talk in code about that because of what you said earlier. But just
no, I don't necessarily know that we had to talk that much in code. What I was talking about earlier is we not getting into actual geopolitical conclusions and things like that. That's what I'm talking about. No, what I'm talking about as a human, emotional, individual, personal level. It's very easy to sit here and make judgments in this when you don't see the ramifications of what you do. But when you're faced with the effects of what you've done or you've decided, it kind of makes you question yourself and where you come and how you got to that conclusion.
Well, that's an excellent point, because before the transmission to the passengers was cut off, they saw the executioner raising the sword above her head. And we knew what was going to happen if something did not change quickly. And so your point is very well raised.
That's why I want to make sure. I mean, I'm being very specific here for various reasons, because that is the point of an individual level. That transcends politics, everything else. We're talking about the story at the individual level with, you know, how many times of what, they walk down the street, go on. I don't have to see and live with whatever the decision had, but these people were then thrown with, what their vote did to this person, and then they saw who the other person really is, the bad guy is, and you know, it really confronts yourself. You know, really makes you do what you really believe this. Or it's very easy to make a decision or judge someone, but then don't see what your judgment has resulted in.
That is an excellent point, Dadman. And I'm, look, let's face it. I don't suck up to you, but I love you. There's a difference.
I love you too.
No, I do. I know.
But yeah.
But, you know, I'm not going to get mushy here. But I mean, part part of this episode is about the mushy feelings.
Mm-hmm.
It really is about the mushy feelings. It's about, look, there are certain things I am not willing to do. Denny Miller, he's not willing to go there.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he's a secondary character, he's not willing to go there. But then you have the gambler. Now he is willing to go there. He provides, and I think JT and Daisy Blossom would agree with this, the massive Chekhov's gun in this episode. And you know what I mean? Where he is a gambler. He learns from what he's told, a Dorian cannot stand to see their own face.
Right.
They set up the mirror fan, the folding fan, and then he has a 3-minute scene going through all the women in the episode, showing a mirror to their face. And then we get to the point where, well, our victim of the episode, shall we say, cannot look. And that was beautifully written. And that has a lot of thematic value to it. May not have a lot of plot value, but it has thematic value to it. And I think that alone made this a wonderful episode to end on.
Well, in a way, it was so the short man who was saying, we're going to question all the women and you're going to give us your life history. And then the blonde said, no, you're not.
Right.
So the fan, it was very hot at that point. And the fan was a very clever, sneaky way. No, I'm not questioning the women. I'm just... I'm trying to lighten the mood, a little bit of magic, a little bit of chit chat. Let me just fan this fan, and nobody reacts until Asteria in the back, and she won't look at the fan. And then he goes, okay, we've caught her. And his whole demeanor changes too.
Right.
The actor is all, and it's hot. Let me see. Oh, do you need a fan? And then he goes, okay, we've got her.
And that is what the gambler does, particularly a card player. That is what a card player does, particularly a poker player. And I really love the fact that you said that, Daisy. I really love the fact.
Well, he was all sweetness and nice, and then he went, yeah, I won.
All right. Well, any other points on this episode? We'll go with our final grades on this episode. All right, Hungry, you get to go first tonight. I'm going to have you go first. Give us your grade on this episode.
Okay, well, I'm going to surprise you with my final note.
Okay.
And I'm going to let JT and Daisy Blossom go. Okay, so the guy who plays Saurus, the father of Demeter and that really fucking Kronos.
Wow.
Whoa.
It really pisses me off.
5 credits for violation of verbal morality code.
Morality code.
Okay, so some people from the 70s, when we were kids in the 70s, might find his voice very familiar, and that is because he played Enoch in Land of the Lost in the 70s, the Lizard Man.
Yeah.
Yes, and so his voice was very familiar, and I love the fact he was cast for this role, and I love the fact that he was using certain hand motions, and because, he had the mask on, right? And so he could only use his eyes, only use his lips, only use his hands in order to express his character, and then look at his emotional shame at his son being scared of him. And I think that was a beautiful moment in terms of script writing and acting. And that is the last thing I'm going to say about this episode.
Okay. And how would you grade it?
Okay. If not for certain other aspects of the episode, I would give it a 10 out of 10 Slee stacks. I got to give it or Tweakies, I got to give it a 9. I got to go one lower. I give it a 9. I think this was a great way to end off the series.
Okay. Daisy Blossom, what do you think? What's your grading?
Yeah, even though I had issues similar to JT, and even Hungry, uh, I really liked this episode. I didn't like it as the season finale, but I did very, very much like the episode, even with all of its flaws. So I would give it an A.
Nice.
Okay. All right, JT, where are you at?
Well, I think it probably had the favorite line from season 2 in this episode. Sleight of hand tricks at a time like this. I was like, what? Anyway, yeah. So I liked the episode. However, I think it was rotten to end the show this way. I do. So, I'm going to give it 8 pieces of candy corn out of 10. See, I was going to talk about corn, and then I started to,
we guys are all giving it A's and B's so far.
So JT's a B. JT, it's not gold pressed platinum.
No,
no, we're not using that. Does he look like a Ferengi to you?
Oh.
No, JT does not. And he does not sound like a Ferengi.
That is correct.
Oh my gosh. All right. So Daisy's got it at what you said, an A. Hungry's like at 9, which is an A in this country. JT's an 8, which is a B. Well, I will tell you, and honestly, this episode sucked. I thought I did not.
Oh my God!
Episode. I did not like this episode. I just
we accept everyone here,
and especially like what made it worse is like JT said, I'm left now with this is the end of Buck Rogers.
Yeah, right.
Now, if that's a victim of the writer's strike or stuff or whatever the time, it's just where I'm feeling, and and I'll be honest, I didn't like the preachy stuff in the 70s. I don't like preachy stuff now, and I it was not my favorite episode for an escapism type TV show that I wanted to watch. And it's not the type of shit, and it's probably a victim of it being the last episode. Had this been earlier in the season, like you had pointed out and stuff like that, I could have looked at it in context. But to me, we got like nothing of Wilma, nothing of it just there
was a bit of Wilma.
Not enough though. I mean, in all honesty, it's not what I watch the show for. I like Wilma as a character. I like good, strong women characters, and she was a great one at the time when they would use her. And I liked Tweaky. We didn't have Tweaky. I mean, all the things that made Buck Rogers was like not used in this episode. And that is where this episode really, really, I think it suffered. But I will say you guys helped bring up my grade a bit, because you made some great points in the deeper messages and things like that.
Would it help you if you knew that a lot of the people working on the episode did not know this was the final episode?
It does, but I'm still stuck. Like when I left, well, not quite like The Last Jedi. That could never be that again. But it was just a big disappointment the way it ended with his little lecture at the end. I mean, it was just so un-Buck Rogers to me. I mean, at least it felt like it. If I might be wrong, and but like I said, you guys helped redeem it tonight to a bit. So I would say 3 buckets of popcorn out of 5. It's not the worst. I don't have it way down low, but it fell below the mark. I mean, I'm not too far off from you guys with a 6 versus 80%. So
that is a generous score from you, considering everything you said about other episodes leading up to this. I mean, both seasons, and I respect that score very much, and I respect the reason that you were giving that score. I really do. I'm not going to make any jokes about it.
No, I know we don't. We all respect and all stuff. So, but that's where I was. So I'm glad y'all liked it. It just it doesn't matter. God.
Well, I mean, I mean, you make look, I'm sorry to seem like I'm sucking up to you, but I don't. The thing is, you talk about the bang bang pew pew all the time.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
But the thing is, a lot of times you also talk about things that really emotionally or culturally matter to you. So your point of view about the sci-fi stuff, and it's not your forte, you have admitted that. You've said that to Daisy and JT, to I and Dave on numerous occasions. When you can really analyze an episode like this and bring up the reasons you don't like it, that is very appreciated to those of us in the sci-fi community, man. It really is. Right on, Days? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I'm
Well,
not trying to force you to agree with me, Daisy. I'm just saying.
No. I'm sorry. I was reading chat, but I was listening to you as well. And yes, I agree. And Dadman has often said, we are not an echo chamber. No. And we don't talk about what we think or what we've written or anything before we start the show. That's our rule. We don't tell each other what we think, So, and everyone is allowed to have an opinion. We don't all like the same things. That's the beauty of being a human being.
Well, before we close off on this episode and we go into, if Dadman will allow me to say this, before we go into our overview of both seasons, for Daisy and JT, if you could have rewritten any part of this episode to make it better, what would you have done?
Oh, that's a tough one.
I can only choose one thing to change. Is that the rule? I can only change one thing.
No, anything at all.
Yeah, one thing though. One thing. What would you have changed?
Oh, just one thing. Wow, because there'd be several.
Well, I didn't say one thing, but Dadman is the host, so you got to go with one thing now.
well, let me. While y'all think, I'm going to go through because an eruption is broken out in the chat, and it's like, we can squirrel for just a second because we did earlier. But Dad, I said 3 out of 5, but then this, I do not know how the heck. Jerry Mendoza says candy corn, then all hell breaks loose. Emily's ooey. Bucky said 8 of 10 candy corns. I don't like candy corn. Oh, you don't know what's good for you, Bucky. Yeah, Emily. Oh man. Oh, she doesn't like it. So yeah,
right on, Emily.
You're right. Beside the fact that it sucked, I really liked it. Yeah, there you go. JT's like if you were on the panel to defend yourself, I'd ask you if you're some kind of comedy. Yeah, there you go. Don't like candy corn. Exactly.
The Gary Coleman episode with candy corn.
Oh my, come on, Snorter Poopus. You got
right on, Snorty.
Candy corn tastes like clay and corn syrup.
Right on.
Had a baby or something? I don't know. Either way. Lady V. I'm sorry. Doesn't like the candy corn. What is wrong with that? So Daisy loves the candy corn. All right. No, Daisy.
Yeah, but I understand why others don't. I love it.
Buttermints for your candy dish. So, and Thade says, "Oh, my dearest Peach, I'm sad about your lack of love for candy corn." She laughs at him. So, now Emily said when she was younger, she loved it, but then again, Bucky loved eating chapstick when she was 5 too. So,
kids eat paste too, and glue and crayons and
Play-Doh.
Play-Doh, Play-Doh.
Kids try to eat this. Oh, that's just crazy.
Like everything.
iPods,
No, those are the other. Those are technically not kids anymore.
No,
the Tide Pod ones.
Caramels and coconut.
Theoretically, they're adults.
I hate being Gen X some days, Daisy. I really.
You know what a Tide Pod is? Hungry?
Believe it or not, I do. Believe it or not, I do.
Okay. I didn't know if they had those out your way.
And Emily, I don't think Hungry will never be mad at you, Emily. No, not at all. But Jerry knows.
No, Emily, no, and I'm never going to be mad at Daisy or JT at all. Exactly. Actually, nobody in the chat. Nobody in the chat.
Jerry loves candy corn. So Mrs. has the loves the buttermints. I know Lady V said caramel and coconut.
And the
Ooh, I don't like coconut.
Are you sure you won't be mad at me? What if I told you that my favorite Marvel creator was Stan Lee?
Well, oh gosh. Peter Venkman fan site, I agree with you.
You're dead to me.
Welcome, Peter Venkman fan site. I agree. I love candy corn. I don't know what the people had with candy corn up there.
See, this just proves we're not an echo chamber, and neither is the chat.
Hey, Bucky's asking, do you do laundry in Australia?
Yes. However, we use
that's
less
not a washing
water.
machine. That's a washing machine.
Put another towel on the washing machine. So,
I'm so sorry.
Poopus. What is
I
laundry?
just can't believe that JT had to bring up Stanley Lieber, his original name, to me. And this
by the way, we do have.
You said you'd never be angry with me.
Well,
I'm not angry with you. I'm angry with Stanley Lieber.
What is laundry?
Again, welcome, Peter Venkman fan site. Good to see you tonight. I love this though. I love this. You know, I love one of our newest people on our late night scroll streams, and I can just hear her saying this to Hungry right now. Do Australians wear clothes?
It depends on whether we're late night or early night, Bucky.
Oh.
Jerry loves the York peppermint patty. So does the missus. So now Lady B saying Sam watched them draws. Well, we had that on a topic a couple nights ago about skid marks and stuff, but we will. Chunk the Punk. Hey, welcome on the Twitch side. Hey, good to see you, Chunk the Punk. How are you doing tonight? We got a raid. All right. Let me
Hey,
Chunk
Daisy.
the Punk. Thank you for the raid.
Do you remember Chunky?
Hungry, 1 second.
The chocolate treat.
Hungry, 1 second.
Chunky monkey.
Yeah, Chunk the Punk is raiding, I think, with 3 people. Thank you over there on the Twitch side. Appreciate the raid. Thank you all over there. Make sure you follow if you haven't already. We got 18 people here with us tonight. We're kind of transitioning from the end of this episode into the retrospective, but we're also talking some candy and apparently laundry at the moment. But thank you for the raid. Yes, pants are optional. Exactly. So I was reminded by Bucky about what you said about that in the stream the other night, Lady V. So that was quite funny. So CLS Studios upside down face smiling. Hello, Junior Mints. And
they're delicious.
Exactly. Raiders of the Last Twitch. The Lost Twitch. Oh my goodness. So anyway, all right. Now that we've got candy out there, feel free. Tell us what you think about. Okay, I'm going to do a poll now. I'm going to whip out my poll now, and we're going to vote on this. Whoa!
You're going to what?
Whip out the poll. That's the
you
phrase.
Said you're going to whip out your
the poll. I'm sorry. I used the wrong. Is that a?
Yeah,
article?
You did.
I did pole dancing. What's happening here?
What?
Folks, this is an after dark show, 18 plus. But
what happened?
Dadman wants to make it 21 plus here.
NC-17. I'm not ready for that. Sorry.
But it would be artistic. It would be an artistic whipping.
Well, we got to get. If it's Bug Rogers, we got to go out good. But do you like candy corn? That's the simple question. Or do you?
While you're typing that in, you know, it's May the 4th, Star Wars Day, and Fortnite, you know, has the license. Dadman, you'll be excited to know that for your race car in Fortnite, you can now buy Darth Maul wheels. Darth Maul wheels.
Will you eat candy corn? Yes or no? The guy should have been cut. Yeah.
Do they have lightsabers that come out?
Yeah.
Might as well. They have a red lightsaber too. So. Oh yeah, Lady V never gave us permission to wear anything but socks. Bucky's been very cold for days. So, all right. So, will you eat candy corn? That's what we have with it. So, while I'm looking at something that just came through, okay, folks, let's look back at season 1 and season 2. Really, the thing is, season 2 Hungry tried to prepare us for it as much as he could without ruining it. But nothing was he could have done to have prepared it for it, because it's a study of contrast of.
Well said. Study of contrast. Well said.
Look, it can't get any worse. And then somebody says, "Hold my beer," you know, like Florida tells to Georgia, you know.
Hold my Fosters, you mean?
Yeah.
No, No, that's weasel piss here. No.
Hold my shrimp. Hold my Barbie, you know? That type of thing.
JT. Okay, Foster's is worse
I know.
than Budweiser here. Okay.
Hungry. I'm keeping testing this theory that you said that I could never make you angry with me. So
What?
I'm not angry. I am testy. Testy is a different word.
You know, if I do make you angry, that's probably not the best thing because I'll probably feel like a force around my neck all the way from Australia. You know,
Look at this.
That's not test you.
Dude, look at this. This is how great we did. Bucky's used her hubby's phone to leave a like and also to vote against candy corn. Jeez, thanks.
Yeah.
So Dade says, yes, pants are definitely optional. I'm doing the same on your alts. Yes. Okay. Bucky said, hold my Tim Tams.
Right on, Bucky.
Now the missus,
hey, Lady V.
Else later, but
right back at you.
She said something about hungry being testy.
Testy, yeah.
She's calling me hangry now.
No.
I mean, no. Honestly, it's
this is the one down here, is I think. But hey,
I mean, honestly, season
the
one
missus, though,
is
Tim Tams. You know what is with you guys in the Tim Tams? Though
season one. No, Tim Tams are delicious. Season one is Tim Tams, and then like season two.
Toblerone.
Yeah. I mean,
but
season
honestly,
two, it's like there are ripoffs of Tim Tams. Like in America, you have Oreos, which are the good stuff, and then you have the other things that are the off-name brand. So season two of Buck was oftentimes really good, but sometimes off-name brand. You know?
Hello, Seraphim. Welcome, Seraphim. Good to see you tonight.
Hello, Seraphim.
So, and they loves Tim Tams. Snort Poopa said Foster's is the Beck's beer of Australia. So
Beck's is better than Foster's.
But I will tell you honestly, we really thought hard about doing season 2 or not. It had everybody look at it.
I warned you. It wasn't even describing it to you. I mean, I honestly warned you guys. I said you're probably not going to like a lot of these episodes.
But you know what? To be fair, we watched the whole series though. You did. It truly is horrible from one standpoint, because I mean, not only did we lose the militaristic side, we lost the Earth side. We're going like in a hippie caravan bus throughout the universe, going to pick up people and who knows whatever. We lost
Ardala. We lost
our Ardala. We lost
Theopolis.
We lost Theopolis. Yeah.
Tiger Man.
And we got
Tiger Man, Dr. Hewer.
And we got cranky ass robot dude Crichton, you know?
And for a few episodes, Tweaky had a voice change that was horrific.
Yeah. It sounded like
I know why. I understand that, but she needed to get a better voice actor.
No relation to Michael Crichton either. No relation to Michael Crichton.
Hey, Michael Crichton.
I wanted to put that out there.
Anyway. Michael Crichton, dear God.
So, but okay, let's
the thing with Tweaky is, and this is something Dadman said himself, and I believe other people have said. Look, if you find a replacement voice actor, and this is also true of live action actors, find someone who at least sounds remotely similar. Similar.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this was not remotely similar at all.
No, and the attitude changed too, not just the voice.
Yeah.
He just the actor did Tweaky differently. For whatever reasons.
Did Tweaky dirty.
There's a reason why Mel Blanc has 133 credits on IMDb and the guy who replaced him has 5. You know what I mean?
Justice has been served.
Yes. Justice. Just respect my authority, but you know.
Oh, speaking of South Park and voice actors, you want to hear where they did not cast a voice actor that was anything remotely like them in South Park? Listen to it in German. Oh my word! Oh my word!
That's if you're a Godzilla fan and you watch the dubbed versions of the 1950s and 60s. Oh my God, those voices do not match at all.
Daisy,
geez,
I've
yeah.
seen every one of the dub versions and every one of the original Japanese versions. I know exactly what you're talking about. I mean, especially Godzilla Raids Again, the second Godzilla film.
Let me say one thing real quick.
No.
I gotta say another thing real quick, and I don't know if they're lurking on the Twitch side, but we got a new follower on the Twitch side. Conroy 1776.
Awesome.
Thank
you for the
you.
follow over there, which puts us at 124 following us on the Twitch side. So, folks, if you do have a YouTube, hit the like button on the YouTube side and then subscribe to us over there because we're at 627. But hey, thank you guys for your support. We're still with almost 20 people here now at 11:30, almost 2.5 hours. So, yes, welcome to the club. And tweakers. We can call them tweakers. I think that's cool. We can call them.
I am not a tweaker.
That word meant something very different in the 90s, right, Daisy?
Yeah. And I am not a tweaker. Thank you very much. I am a Twitch streamer, not a tweaker.
I've got to start getting an Urban Dictionary next to me to start looking at words.
You really do. Ask Aang some of these things. Like,
Aang, I need your help, Aang. So
Aang would go, don't use that.
He rolled so many times. We could have powered LA for like a year.
I mean, Daisy, if I had $1 for all the times I left the party because one of my friends came in with a date, you know what I mean by a date, and they were a tweaker, I'd be able to pay off a lot of my groceries right now.
Well, hey, listen, somebody's after you, Hungry. Bucky said, I finally ordered my first Tim Tams. No stores around us have them. I checked. They're $8 on Amazon, but you've got to be curious. If they suck, I want financial compensation.
Okay, all right, hold on. I'll back you up there. Bucky, but I know you got a sweet tooth. And honestly, the missus loves Tim Tams.
Oh, thank you, Snortapoopus, for the definition. I appreciate that.
But Bucky, did you order the original style Tim Tams or did you order a specialty style Tim Tam? They're different.
Gosh, now we're into types of Tim Tams. Well, while we're thinking about Tim Tams, what is something good of season 2 that you liked? Because it's so easy. Because to me, it was just so different than the first season that I had problems throughout the whole point. And like when the first episode, I just wanted to quit when I watched it the first time. So I ended up going back. But it kind of grew on me a little bit. But I actually thought Hawk was not bad. I think Hawk was a good addition to the show in terms of a positive.
Yes.
I think he was underutilized quite a bit.
Yes.
But
it was. I think I'm the only one that didn't like him. I think.
Okay, go ahead. What about him did you not like? Yeah. What about him?
I hated the costume.
Uh-huh.
I hated they didn't give him enough to do. I thought he was surplus to requirements. I don't think he filled the role he needed to. Look, it's obvious that they wanted to go more Star Trek on that. And to go TOS at this point, that's the only thing that existed besides the animated series, which doesn't refute the point. You have the trinity of Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, right? And so if you're going to try to do that, you got to bring in, I guess, because you're not counting robots, Wilma and Buck, and then you got to bring in your Birdman. I don't know how the Birdman interacts with Wilma for much. There's not a trinity at play there, and I feel like that's maybe what they tried to do, and it didn't work. I thought the backstory was interesting enough, but making him a regular part of the crew was weak, the way they got him on the ship. And they did not spend enough time with him after that one episode. And I know it's not it's not the Birdman show, but you needed to do more. Cut out that whole episode with Papa Smurf, and you got room. All of a sudden,
although Birdman did have a good, as I remember, good conversation with Papa Smurf.
But Birdman needed his own episode.
Yes, he
by
did.
himself,
He needed
and
another
never got
episode
it.
besides the intro. Yeah, and I don't
But-
think they should have. I don't think they should have killed his mate.
I agree with that, but also
Mhm.
to agree with you, Daisy, I think that the only episode of Blue Cree Midget that the only aspect of that episode that was good was or enjoyable were the conversations between Hawk and him. And those were fairly limited. Fairly limited. And I hear what you're saying, but they could have done more. They could have done more. And to back up you and JT, I mean, if you're going to introduce Hawk as a major character in a series, don't make him a major character and then sideline him for most of the season 2.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
I think it suffered from having too many new characters. I mean, we got Dr.
Yeah.
Goodfellow. We got, and I did not like Goodfellow, and I hate to say it because I think they made him for too long. No, here's what I think. I didn't think you need Asimov or what do you call him?
That was his name, yes. Asimov, yes.
That's not what JT calls him.
I called him the Battlestar Galactica Admiral.
Adama, yes, Adama,
because
yes.
that's who he was.
Yeah,
And you call Goodfellow Doctor Who Hartnell.
Yeah, Hartnell. Yeah, Hartnell Doctor Who. Because look, that's what they were. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, but see, they wasted time with too many people. I think.
Right.
I think Wilma as the captain of the ship would have been great. It would have been groundbreaking for the time, but you don't do it because of that. But the thing is, she would have kept that colonel ranking. It would have been militaristic.
Right.
You could have kept her in a position of authority, like all the guys' fan favorite lady there. And it's like you got her just running around as a waitress these days and stuff instead of putting her back in that command position. The problem with Goodfellow is they made him almost sympathetic, like he was a doddering old guy that didn't know where he was half the time in the first few episodes, so you ended up losing respect from him from the very beginning.
But Dadman, hold on, because you're as much of a Wilma fan as I am. Okay.
Yes.
But you're also a south of the Mason-Dixon line guy. Okay.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Would you have had any problem at all when they started season 2 with Wilma being given the position of admiral and then controlling the searcher and being in control?
Okay,
it depends.
I had to answer it from two different angles. At that time, it being 11 years old, well, not yet 11, I probably would have said no. I'll be honest. I probably would have said no. Just typical guy, macho stuff, probably then. But now being older, I'd say I wouldn't have had a problem. I mean, it made more sense. I'd have made more respect for the fact that she had this militaristic background. She was a colonel. She was a leader. She was in charge of Earth Defense Forces. Well, now she's commanding a mission around the universe to find people that left Earth after the Holocaust. Those type of things. And that's that. And as an adult processing it, I would have had more respect for it. Now I would have. Back then,
a teenager can recognize boobies, and an adult can recognize competency.
Right.
So, I understand it, Dadman.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. So, I mean, I have to answer that question fairly. We'd go back into that point.
Thank you for that.
And I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have. Now Wonder Woman, yeah, hell yeah. Wonder Woman ruled everything.
Oh, God.
What?
Oh God, no!
Anyway.
I mean, honestly, I have come from very strong people. Male.
Are you laughing like Chucky tonight?
Yeah, I am.
Okay,
that's me. But the thing is that if you look at somebody who is incredibly competent and they can save a family or a group of people, and it is due to their competency, that is what you look at. And we had so much competency from Wilma in the first season. And then I don't know why they dropped it in the second season. I don't know why they nerfed her in the second season, but it really upset me. It really bloody upset me. And it could have been such a better show because like you were talking about, Dadman, there could have been so much more emotional and quasi romantic push
Mm,
and pull between her and Buck if she had been the leader of the Searcher.
yeah.
That could have been brilliant, but no, we didn't
Oh,
get
that's where
that.
you quoted that from. I didn't realize you quoted it out of the chat. I thought you came up with that, Hungry.
I'm
That
giving Bucky all credit for that,
I
even
know,
though I'm
yeah.
not a booby man.
And the eggplants come back, but yeah, it's oh god, the eggplants come
Well,
I'm a
back.
Sophia
the
Loren guy,
I know.
JT. You know
Well,
what
let
I
me go
part
mean?
back. Yeah, Daisy.
I
Daisy.
would say part of the problem in all of this as well was in the beginning, at the first season, we were more into a militaristic kind of hierarchy in the ships and all that kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff and battles with Ardala's ships.
Mm.
In season two, they went with okay, the Searcher is going to be a science vessel and it's going
Mm.
to go find the 13 missing tribes of colonists or whatever it was doing. But it didn't even resemble a science or an expedition type of ship. It was more like a cruise
Right.
ship.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so you changed everything, all of the characters, the whole premise of the show. Too many things changed.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I agree because and that's the first thing I have go in that first episode. It was I actually stopped watching that for the first time through the first episode in the second season. I just had to stop because it was what more did you want to change? You know, you might as well just
Mm.
change Buck Rogers himself because it was a lot to deal with and a lot to overcome. But everything had it's still there were some good elements to it of the second season, but I think he really had to stretch to find it. I think one of the disappointing things is like as hearing from you Star Trek people that it seemed like that's where they went that type of avenue, and that probably was why I didn't like it as much in the second
Mm.
season because I have the differences with the Trek side.
Mm-hmm.
Some natural inherent biases, so that's where as Hungry might like some more of these episodes than I did. It
Well, yes and no. I want to back up what you're saying here, but I also want to invite Daisy and JT, who are more, like me. I do enjoy science fantasy, but I tend to enjoy science fiction more. And I felt, and I want JT and Daisy to talk about this. I felt that season two was far more science fantasy than science fiction, where we had a lot of good science fiction episodes in season one.
mm-hmm.
Mm, I'd have to go and count the episodes one by one to agree or disagree with you on that.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
It's just the quality in season one was so much better than season two. What gets hard to really tell it apart is there's really only two in season two altogether that were science fiction like in my mind, tonight being one of them. And when you only have two, and this season felt shorter than season one, you're starting to look at fractions, percentages. And when you only have like maybe 3 or 4 good episodes at all anyway,
oh God.
Yeah.
it's really like, yeah, you could compare them, but season one's just so much better in so many ways that
it's season one also gave us all those cameos too. Not just Gary Coleman. We saw Frank Gorshin. We saw so many other names too.
Jack Palance.
I don't know. I didn't know
Jack
who most
Palance.
of those people were anyway, because I wasn't old enough to know who most of them were to see them on TV. Right.
I mean, you bring up a very good point, JT. But honestly, with me looking at 1930s science fiction, 1940s, 1950s, even up to the 1960s, I think that there was a lot more science fiction element in the first season than the second season. And I think that was like a, how should I say this? an attempt to capitalize
Mhm.
on Star Wars and a whole bunch of other things. I think it was really very. There's a word I'm not going to use.
Mhm.
Um, it no,
Mm-hmm.
I can't say the word because I don't want to ruin the stream. But it was a fiduciary, shall we say,
Sure.
in concept.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, let me
Yeah, go for it.
I want to get caught up in some of these chats that I've been starring because some of these go towards
If
some good
I can come
conversations.
back and do my top 5, I would really love to do that.
Absolutely,
if I could.
we'll do that. Let me get caught up really quickly here where we go through Papa Smurgas, the Pete of the cartoon world. Did we lose Elias Hewer? Yes, Jerry Minosa. We lost Elias
Yeah, we
Hewer in
did.
season 2. We, along with several other major changes, we lost Dr. Theopolis because it went from an Earth story to the Searcher going throughout the galaxy or the universe.
And
So
Daisy loved Dr. Theopolis, as did
yes,
and that he was one of the best characters. It really hurt me.
we lost so many things out of the first season. It was like
Yeah.
it became truly a different show. So our Muslim uncle said, "I will eat candy corn, but I will enjoy it. But beyond the first bite or one, the world may never know." Now, Peter Venkman fansite said, "I wonder why they didn't get the same actress to play his mate in the episode. They had her as a ghost or something." You remember we had the episode back? I did not catch that episode. If it was, I thought it was the same actress, but I don't know if y'all picked up on that or not. But he did say space vampires though. That was one. That was one of I think Hungry. And I hated it. We had the little.
No, we had a disagreement.
Cat dot.
We did. I know, but you never.
Dot.
You never watched Nosferatu, either of the two versions, and
no, because Nosferatu looks so freaky.
That's the point of the episode.
But
That's
I
the point of
cringe at that stuff.
God damn it!
Oh God!
I love that episode. I'm gonna die on that hill. I love that episode.
That's fine, but that fuzzy red ball was just like for the cats. I mean,
that sucked. I agree with you. That sucked.
Yeah, and unfortunately, see, he was a distracted old genius type good fellow. But had they done more of what they did, had they started the first couple episodes off where how he ended, it might have been a little bit better. But they started him at a bottom, like. He needed to be tended and watching. Had they given him credibility and some maturity to begin with, then it's like I think I would have adjusted back to that. And feel free to stop me if y'all have any other points here.
No. But I want to agree with you. This is something that JT has brought up and Daisy has brought up. They weren't consistent with Goodfellow. All right,
Mhm.
they have him. They have him for, let's say, 5 out of 7 episodes being the doddering old fool suffering dementia, and suddenly he becomes the brilliant guy, and that's just like, I don't know where to go with this. And
exactly,
be consistent.
Yeah. And another one that we've got, Snort Poopus on a 5-year mission to find all the missing socks. So now, and your Muslim uncle said, I think it's awesome they did the reverse of Voltron. Now, I might need y'all's help with this. The reverse of Voltron, instead of getting rid of the super awesome, competent male and replacing him with a princess, they turned the colonel into a waitress. I'm not sure with Voltron, but it's like, but yeah. Which was sad. Wilma was a great character. I mean, she really did a lot.
She was.
All that. Mm-hmm. But now, what do we like, though? If you can remember anything else we liked from season 2, but what did you like of the series overall? What about season 1? What did y'all find?
No, Lady really got your interest? No, Lady D.
It's okay. Because I tell you, let's see.
Isn't the cruise ship to the stars also the Searcher?
Yeah,
I just have to ask. I know it doesn't sound like, but I feel like it's the same ship model. Looking at it, looking back at it,
that was one of the things I really disliked about season 2, where it felt like, and I said this in one of the reviews that we did. It's the Love Boat in space, particularly when we're getting to the areas in the ship where people are eating It's just
Yep.
no. Don't do the Love Boat. I know the Love Boat was very popular at the
Mhm.
time. Don't do the Love Boat. This is a sci-fi show. Don't try to do that. Glenn, I know you like ripping things off. Rip off sci-fi. Don't rip off Love Boat. Love Boat sucks. I hate Love Boat. Now,
Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
American
Well,
style,
see,
that's great.
he's yeah. Well, he's supposed to be a scientist and a historian. Wait, we might be head for the missing guest at history. Yeah, because there were some. He was big into the archaeology and the history and that stuff. And the next thing, he's a scientist. It was kind of like depending on which way it was. So
Honestly, Dadman, I don't
Yeah.
like season 2. I'm
Yeah.
not going to try to reach for something that it just, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we all kind of know that I didn't like season 2 that much.
I
The
warned
episodes
you
that
before
did
you
work,
started watching. I warned you. I thought you, of all people on this show, are not going to like season 2.
yeah, the episodes, the 3 or 4 that I thought were
Mhm.
decent to good,
Yeah.
didn't deserve to. I don't want to say they didn't deserve to be made, but I guess in a way, what's the point? Because they weren't in
Yeah,
service of
right.
anything worthwhile.
Yeah.
So I'd rather they had just not made them and just only had season 1.
Yeah. And see, and like I think they had the stars in season 1 because season 2 we had fewer guest stars and things that popped up. I just there were some bright spots. Testimony of a Traitor was a decent episode. You know, kind of going back to how the
Jamie Lee Curtis.
world ended. Well, that's in season 1 though.
That's
know,
what I'm
season
saying.
2.
Season 1. Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
but I'm
and
talking
it's-
season 2. Like Testimony of a Traitor was a good spot in season 2, except it was right there at the end, and you know we of course had our problems with certain parts of it. So
I liked reviewing it with everyone, plus Dave, here, and I loved having the chat along for the ride for season 2. But I would listen to the advice if I were to tell it to somebody else. Just have season 1 in your head. That's all you need.
like that's all I expected, and then season 2 happened. So,
But sometimes you
Well-
have to know. I mean, I have to hate watch Star Trek Discovery to know, to be reminded of what's so bad in the world. But
yeah,
But-
and then
but
that's
to
back.
back you
We're
up-
back to season 1 here. Write the comment.
Right.
Need more
But to
Pamela
back,
Hensley.
up just before we go to season 1, and I love Pamela Hensley. I love her in other roles than Ardala, but I love her in Ardala. To back up JT, I mean, season 2 really tried to go beyond what the show was meant to be in the original concept of the show. And that is why I am an Outer Limits fan, the original black and white Outer Limits fan. Season 2 of Outer Limits was incredibly different to season 1. And sci-fi people like you and Daisy, you like season 1 of Outer Limits. Season 2 is generally mocked. Just like with Buck, season 2 is generally mocked. And there's a reason for that, because we start going into the fantasy aspect versus what we were promised, which was science fiction. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the whole promise of the science fiction. And but the more I heard you guys equate a lot of these season 2 episodes to Trek, it really started bothering me. It started making more of an impression.
Well,
because
it bothered us too.
Yes. Yes. Quite a bit.
well, because
We
the
were there
thing
with
is,
you.
well, the thing is that why rip something else off that's a proven track record and has its own success? Why copy
Well,
something?
it
When they
didn't,
had,
though.
I thought they had
It didn't.
I thought they actually had a good format in the first season. I thought they were
Right.
their own thing,
Yeah.
and I
They
think that
copied a
did.
show that was canceled relatively
Well,
quickly.
and where
on
they
network
were
TV.
was kind of a combination between Star Wars and Battlestar Galactica in a way. For the people like me, they had not completely hungry. They didn't have a lot of bang bang pew pew, but they had the threat of it. They had the blaster pistols. They had the fighter aircraft. So they're always, more they get the Draconians in it, it was that type of stuff.
I'm
In a
agreeing
lot of
with you.
ways, more than a Battlestar Galactica Star Wars mix, I would say maybe Battlestar Galactica James Bond.
Yes.
I think might have a tighter association. I know you haven't watched, all
Right.
the movies. There's a ton of them.
I've seen all of them. Yes, I know what you mean.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I have too.
But and that was really cool because the 60s and 70s are the golden era, and I guess the golden age and the silver age. They kind of lined up with comic books that way.
Yeah, they do. They honestly do. And to back you up, I mean, I would say, I hope you don't hate me for saying this, JT and Daisy, but Buck season 1 is Sean Connery. Buck season 2 is Roger Moore. To a certain extent.
I like Roger Moore.
No, don't say that. No.
Yeah, because it had Duran Duran of You to
You
a
son of a bitch. You had to say that. No.
Yeah, I do. You love Duran Duran.
Yeah, sure I do. But honestly,
maybe George Lazenby or Timothy Dalton.
Look, okay,
I would say
Dalton
season
will
2
accept.
might be Timothy Dalton.
Look, Lazenby, I have attitudes about because I'm a fellow combat wombat like he is. But
sure.
Yeah.
And I know some of his personal history. We're not going to talk about that. But the thing is that it's also like comparing 1960s to 1975 Doctor Who to comparing New Who, or comparing TOS Star Trek or even TNG to the current crap on television right now. There comes a point where the whole attitude about how you tell the story is different. And I feel with Buck, the attitudes about screenwriting, not the actors, the screenwriting was completely different from season 1 to season 2.
Yep. We know that. It
so
was
Dadman, if I may,
my
top, I actually can't fit it in 5 because it's not fair.
All right.
Top 7. If I may.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Coming in at number 7, A Dream of Jennifer.
Okay.
I did like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
Loved it.
I just in Beautiful Actress helped it quite a bit, but I loved the it just had a science fiction element to it that season 2 makes me grateful for. Number 6, Planet of the Amazon Women. Buck was auctioned off for Quatloos, and I kind of enjoyed this. It was a guilty pleasure of mine episode.
Look,
we got
dude,
the open chest of Gil Gerard.
Dude,
there you go.
You're a TOS guy. You got to explain Quatloos to people who don't understand that term.
Okay, so the command crew of the Enterprise was captured and had these funny looking things put around their neck, and they basically were forced to be gladiators. And so these abstracted voices were meant to be basically like senators, I guess you could say, in the Roman Colosseum, and they were betting on who would win these fights, and the currency was Quatloos. So,
and then later we see them, and they're little Jello brains.
Yes,
that often happened in Star Trek.
Yeah. Okay, so number 5, I have Ardala Returns.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love it. It's fun, and it has Ardala in it. Number 4, Vegas in Space.
Okay.
It's James Bond, and I loved it for how James Bond it was, and so not all of these are because they're the most science fiction. It's did I enjoy it because I had the most fun. So number 3, I have The Plot to Kill a City, the 2-parter.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Love it or not, I did enjoy that one.
And that had the real unmasking and showing mutation in it. That was a very important aspect of that.
Yes. Yes, that was the gentleman with the he had kind of a Phantom of the Opera mask on
Very much.
Mhm.
and
Very
phased
much.
through the walls. Yes, I really enjoyed that one.
Number
Would just be
2.
brains. Okay.
Yeah. Number
Yeah.
2, and there are others that I like. So, they just didn't
Right,
make
yeah.
the top 7. Number 2, Escape from Wedded Bliss. Because what would,
Yes.
what would an
Yes.
Ardala episode be without Tiger Man and,
Yep.
Number 1, Unchained Woman. I think they could have made that into a
Oh.
movie. I really thought that should have been a movie. I just, I loved it.
And that had
So-
Jamie Lee in it, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
And that
Yes.
was just magnificent. Except for the fight episode at the end, which was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But we can look, sometimes you got to forgive everything until the budget runs out.
Yes.
Oh,
So yeah,
boy.
Unchained
Yeah,
Woman
good
is number
job.
1 for me. All in season 1.
Yeah.
I'm kind of all over the place in the season, and Ardala heavy, but you can't blame me for that. I mean,
Now,
No.
Daisy or Hungry, do y'all have any particular that you can think off the top of your head that were your favorites or that you really like? Not necessarily rank them, just 1 or 2 episodes that stand out that were positive.
Daisy first.
I did like I'm sorry, I'm not good with the names. The one JT brought up about it was a 2-parter and the gentleman phased through the walls.
Mm-hmm.
Plot to Kill Silly.
Plot to kill a city. Yes. Yes.
Say that 10 times fast.
No.
Which also had James Gorshin, who played the original Riddler in the
Yes.
Batman show.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Pretty
while
good.
that also had flaws,
Mhm.
like they were inside a building that, like, okay, and there's exit signs and stuff. I mean, there were issues, but I really liked that, especially the character that he all the
he
things
was
he was
tragic.
talking about his children, yes,
Oh,
and that
yeah.
they couldn't play with each other because they were all so deformed,
I know.
and how upsetting that was, and in his change from I'm going to help these guys until he realized, well, wait a second, they're going to nuke what's left of the earth and change the humans will now have these deformities, and I
Right on.
can't allow that. And so I
Mhm.
really liked that episode.
And that, that in respect to the final episode we're talking about today, we have talked about today, Daisy, that is again the plot working with the theme versus the theme working against the plot. And I think I agree with you. Probably my 2 favorite episodes of the show. I agree 100%. And thank you for saying that. Thank you, Dave.
I will say
Yeah.
that in defense of season 2, I did happen to like Hawkman. I did not like the fact that they basically put a feathered cap on his head and said he's a bird. So that was
Yeah,
very annoying,
floating eyebrows,
especially when they introduced his mate, and she had
Yes.
the beautiful feathers in the eyelashes and stuff, and I'm like, okay, you could have done way better with this. But I did like how the actor really tried to maintain his demeanor through the whole thing.
He did.
And he occasionally, when you would see him move, he would have bird-like movements.
Yes.
So he was embracing the character, as silly as the character could come across, and as you know, sitting there going, but he's not really a bird. He's really a man with feathers on his head. So if you could get past that and just listen to him, and how he molded that character, and how he physically embodied as best he could a person who's a bird, and I loved his ship. So that's all I have to say about season 2.
Yeah.
Oh.
Fair enough.
Exactly.
I mean,
So,
given everything else in season 2, that's the best I can come up with.
Hungry, did you pick one that you liked?
Well, I could, but I just want to back up what Daisy's talking about here. The thing about Hawk as a character, and I do love the relationship he had with his wife. I really do love that. I think that sets us up to really respect his character. You
Yes.
know,
Yes.
in the subsequent episodes, even after she is dead, I think that was played out beautifully. I think the script writing was delightful, and it was one of the rare times, and JT will know what I'm talking about, where the fight scenes in either season 1 or season 2 were more realistic and visually had more stakes because we could believe the fight scene between Hawk and Buck. And therefore, when we got to the end of the introduction of Hawk, it meant a lot when we saw him accept Buck as an equal. And that meant a lot. So that is one of my favorite episodes of season 2. And then I know I'm going to cop a lot of crap for this.
Okay.
But I liked the Mummy episode.
Okay. Well, hey, if you like
the episode where they go to the planet, they're looking for the dilithium crystals. Joke, JT. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. Yes. And there's the mist on the ground, and then they find the corpse, and it's not really a corpse. There was all this horror movie stuff that was going on in it. And I mean, honestly, we can joke about it, but I really like the Lost in Space episode aspect of it. Because it was so lost in space.
A beautiful actress. You know, one of the things I like about this show, and I'm not trying to be a chauvinist, even in the not so great season 2, they cast beautiful women in these shows.
Yes,
and I can't speak for the men. Yeah, I can't speak for the men, but the women were beautiful, and it's more of a damnation on the modern TV shows that they have to uglify so many actresses. I was talking about this with Ashley on Discovery last night. They uglified more than a couple people just to make Sonequa Martin Green look better. And it hurts the careers of the actresses. And people don't want to see that on screen. Sorry, but they want to see beautiful people on their TV screen. And they could act like Hungry, and others said they had both components.
Well, I mean,
and it was such a refresher from what you don't see anymore on so much of modern programming. So
yes, but in the Mummy episode I'm referring to, there was very little makeup put on the main actress who had to play the person who was going to be transforming and had to end up being the mate of the so-called monster in the episode. And I thought that was very apropos. She
was naturally very attractive. So
well, she was, but it was as you put it, naturally attractive. It wasn't a cosmetically attractive, if you know what I mean. So there is a big difference between somebody who goes through a lot of, shall we say, plastic surgery to become attractive versus someone who is naturally attractive, and the camera will just capture that. And I know it was creepy, and Daisy knows what I mean. I know that episode had a lot of creepy stuff with the way she was talking to Buck. You know what I mean, Daisy? And she's kind of talking to him as a father figure, but also talking to him as if she's attracted to him. And I can let that go because sci-fi, right? Sci-fi says we are picking up on the signals the script is giving us. It is very clear to us, not Buck. Buck is not realizing this chick is 2 days old, but we know because of the script. And that is a good script. And that means at the end of it, we can feel all right with that episode. So that is probably my favorite episode of season 2.
Well, there you go.
Because it was respectful to sci-fi.
All right. Well, that's cool. Well, we're going to go ahead and try to wrap it up here now. I need to close the poll. but I wanted to get that. I will say before we do it, can we all agree though that the worst episode of the whole 2 seasons was in season 1 was the stupid fake ass video recap that was a New Year's.
Oh God, yes.
Because
Oh, that wasn't an
Either
episode.
that,
it was just
well,
that was
I
truly
actually
we
hate
didn't
the
did we
Smurf. I
even
hate
spend 5
Smurf
minutes?
more than that. I hate
Oh,
the
you
Smurf
didn't
Smurf more than that.
Wow.
I'm with
Wow.
JT. I actually hate the Smurf episode more
Yeah.
than the Gary
Wow.
Goldman
I-
episode.
Yeah.
I didn't. I found that was at least magically delicious. Blue milk for blue Star Wars milk for you moms out there to buy your darling kids blue milk for Star
Bucky's
Wars.
going to be very upset at that. Yes, go ahead.
Oh, she did. The kids love it. It's the Star Wars from the original movie from Star Wars. In Tatooine. It's not that Last Jedi crap. So, well, I will tell you my favorite.
Daisy, did you
Yes?
see the Blue Smurf episode plus the Gary Coleman recap of everything that happened?
yes.
All right, which one do you loathe more?
Ooh. Wow, you were going to a low for the loathing, huh?
Yeah, I'm going loathing.
Hmm.
By the way,
I think the recap one, because it's just
Cheap.
it's so
Yeah.
it's so cheap. It's such a cheat. It's cheating off the homework from all the other episodes. There's no
Right.
real through line or storyline. At least with the Blue Smurf, they at least tried to put a story on paper and hand it in, and there was an attempt. The
this was-
recap was just crap. I'm sorry, excuse my word, but yes,
Yeah.
worse than bat guano. There you go.
There you go.
I'm about to change my rating to agree with you, Daisy, because
Don't trust Hungry your secrets. He'll turn in a moment.
I will. The situation is, I mean, I'm actually torn between those two episodes because we had the fake lightsaber toy being used.
Well, yeah.
In the
Sticking out of the
Smurf
darkness.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
now see, Peter Venkman saying they could have used Gary for a better story. I mean, we didn't even like him as the leader being. It just, it's just like it came off clunky. It's hard to believe him, and it just, I don't know, just so much that was wrong that we talked about before in that one. But yeah, I think a lot of times it's just a better story. You get a better written story. You got a different situation with everybody. Bucky said she's to stop, that she had to make up a recipe for it because the daughter said it's not as good as the original. But yeah, there was
Right
a blue
on.
milk made by True Moo and Kemp's. I think must have been the Midwest. I couldn't find it for May the 4th, based on the original Star Wars movie in the scene of the cantina. So exactly, definitely over the green goo milk. Exactly.
Well, I have actually tried both of them at Disneyland.
Oh, really? Wow.
Well, yeah, we did.
We read the ingredients on a squirrel stream last week. You don't
Yeah.
want to know.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
and
hey,
we didn't
but-
finish it, but the blue was definitely more tolerable than the green.
Yes, but I will tell you, Bucky came up with a very delightful concoction with whipped
Cool.
cream. Actually, is really, really good. Yeah. So, and Bucky said you can make it at home. You make any color or flavor you want. Yes, it's definitely. If we had more time, I'd just pull out the picture and show it. But I do know we need to end. We were at 3 hours. Have y'all had, before I reveal my favorite episode? Have y'all or one of my favorite episodes? Have y'all said what you want to say?
Yep.
Anything else? All right.
Yep, we're done.
Yeah, the green
I
milk
will-
is why Luke gave up. That's why I draw the line at green milk. Yes, Hungry.
I will say that it's actually a photo finish in regards to a horse race for my
Yeah.
favorite episodes. Number 1 is the
Mhm.
Jamie Lee Curtis episode. Number 2 is the 2-parter Plot to Kill a City. I love those equally for various reasons, but Plot to Kill a City, amazing. Character actors,
I agree.
amazing. Plot, amazing. And Jamie Lee Curtis, she was actually very young in her career when she got into Buck Rogers, and I think she gave it everything. I think she was not banking on her sexuality. I think she was honestly going off her ability to be a character actor, and I really appreciate that. And bear in mind, a lot of people don't know she's a daughter of Mr. Curtis. Mr. Curtis.
Tony Curtis, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Tony Curtis.
All right. Well, I'll tell you, I really liked the first part, the episode, the first 2 episodes, which was actually part of a theatrical release, although there were some edits for TV. Yeah, that is probably my first overall, especially we get the introduction of the Buck Rogers theme song, which is really a wonderful song and all. But I will tell you, one of the episodes that I like the most is this good. What's great about it, because it's right around 1980s. What says 1980s, but funky lights and wardrobe. And here we go, Space Rockers.
No, you damn it! Damn it!
What's not to like? The guy's playing little shot glasses for drums and all, and she's like going crazy on a guitar or something.
And you have the audacity to say for 2 years that you're not funny. Screw you.
That is not a drum set.
I know.
No, I do like
it's like a bar set.
I do like
a bar set. But I had to also throw this out for Hungry's benefit. But we do agree that what one of the worst ones is. So, any final thoughts as we say goodnight to everybody? I do want to a couple comments. Please don't leave yet, folks. I've got some major announcements to let y'all know about real
Snorty,
quick.
thank you.
So yes,
thank
exactly.
You.
I just wanted to say I sincerely enjoyed doing the last 2 seasons like this. Yeah, it's going to be tough not expecting Buck Rogers on Fridays.
I know.
It will be.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I'd like to thank the 3 of you. It's been a joy. Even when I'm pulling my hair out, watching an episode, going, why am I what? And then talking to you about it. And I must say, chat, you guys have been amazing. Some of you have been here since the beginning, and even if you haven't, even if this is the first time you've watched us, you guys are amazing. You're just on fire, and it's a joy when we're talking about it, and you guys are talking about it in chat. So thank you all very much.
Hungry?
And Daisy and JT, I want to really thank you for bringing up the question of the sci-fi versus the science fantasy in this from the very beginning. And you guys have been troopers in regards to that. And if we're going to talk honestly about all these episodes, we do need to bring that up. And you guys have been remarkable in doing that with the jokes as well, okay? But, you guys understand what science fiction versus science fantasy is, and we've helped. Dadman has been very honest at the beginning. He says, I don't know. At the beginning, he said, I don't really know the difference between science fantasy and science fiction. So you guys explain it to me. He's been marvelous. I think this has been a remarkable exploration of this series, and I thank you all for doing this with me. Thank you.
All right. Well, let me hit a couple of things real quick that are here. By the way, Bucky's Crafting has actually come up with a recipe for the blue milk. But you can
I'm never drinking that.
I took a photo of the recipe.
Oh my gosh, you guys are great. But hey, of course, like Peter Venkman says, seeing the future of synthwave and dance was different. Absolutely. So now, Corey Cochran, this is the thing, figure out what to do on Fridays. And I'll level with you folks. Let me go ahead and have a couple moments. Fridays going forward for a while will we'll try to be a regular with the late night with Dadman and Friends, either at 9, 10, something in that area, going till whenever. That's the immediate filler for this. Summer's coming up, a lot of vacations and stuff before starting another series. Also, with some life things that we've got here, we've got to be flexible at times, and just so much going on that.
Hey, Mr. A.
Hey, Mr. Angel made it. Oh wow! Good morning. Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. You keep saying that your version is pretty good. So the true mood taste, that's crap, Bucky. Your kids like that. That's right. Squirrels but to get back to the point is for a while, at least because of summer coming up too, it'll be back to the squirrel streams. It'll be a Friday night core program here. Time to be determined, either 9 or 10 o'clock slot and going until whenever. Because we just need some flexibility on this end with stuff like this. It's amazing how even a commitment, this show, doing the show every week to do it right is a true commitment involved. And we just need a little flexibility for a while with things going on. But I've learned to even really these three panelists and Dave C. also, when he's helped to step in, it's a commitment, and to have to watch these shows and to make the notes that they have. It truly is a labor of love, because I can only pay them very weekly, which is free,
Mm-hmm.
So that's. But to have friends, lemon pies in here. This is, folks. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I won't cry on you guys, but really, I never did I think I'd have 18 people 3 freaking hours after starting on one of these shows at 12:11 on the East Coast. I'm truly humbled. Lemon pie. Nice. Hello, Citrus. I'm trying to sing his name right, but I truly am humbled and honored at the 3 hours. And a lot of you people have been here for the whole time, the long time. And no, Buck, no, just no. But I'm truly honored and humbled by all you guys in the chat too. I think originally we started with maybe 5 or 7. And then it got to 10, and then I looked at tonight. We've had between Twitch and YouTube, and on YouTube it's been 14 to 21 for a good most of the show, and it's been holding 15 and above for almost the entire time. And the people with the rate on Twitch, that really means a lot. And you guys do not know that when y'all come in the chat and supporting and everything, what y'all do for the panelists. I know what you do for me, what you do for the missus. When we need support and encouragement, this is a lot of fun. And to see that y'all choose to stay here when there's so many other options, and you come, even if you haven't watched the show, have fun with us and hang out. It just means the world to all of us. And thank you. And also, Lady V, if you're still there, or JT, one of y'all, if you'll throw the Mrs. link in the chat for me real quick, because I will. Because listen, this lady, I'm not here without her, without Aang, and definitely without her. I am nothing and do not do anything, because she's done my graphics, she's done stuff together for me, and it's thank you, Bucky. So she's working for Mr. Angel now. Oh, for balls of yarn. How about that? But thank you so much. And I say this, thank you for
great balls of yarn.
Put that link up there, because you asked what's coming next. Well, in the immediate future, tomorrow, Mrs. and I are going to be doing a joint stream here. And I'm going to pull this down. I'll bring it back up here. Tomorrow, well, I guess it's now today. I had the wrong graphic because I didn't expect us. We were still going. But tomorrow, today, Saturday, May the 4th. Yes, I know a lot of Star Wars fans don't celebrate May 4th. They view May 25th. I might celebrate both of them for the fun of it. But we're going to start this diorama that we got a couple years ago, the Death Star Trench Run. She'll be working on that. I'll be sharing some memes and doing some other things with that. We'll be talking some Star Wars. And hope you can join us for this. Let people know about it. And yeah, Corey. Okay, I'll remind her too, because I know you sent a few of those. But yeah, come join us for this, for a good time and hang out with this. Also, so please join us for that. Revenge of the Fifth. I've heard of that. I've heard of that too. But also, for a while, we'll be doing a lot of random chill chats or something. Not this week, but the week after, we'll get back to sports on Tuesday nights. But we'll have random Fortnite fun with Dadman and friends and things like that. Of course, the late night with Dadman and friends will be on Friday, and trying to do them on Wednesdays and Fridays. And so make plans to come join us. This is our squirrel streams where we really go crazy. We actually brought some of the squirrel stream into this stream tonight. But hey, these are usually a lot of fun. We're a little more serious the other night, but sometimes they're serious, sometimes they'll go off the chain. But the whole point is they're never the same stream. Don't expect the same thing you saw the last time. Things are always different. So, oh no. And Snort Poop said he'll be in the clutches of Sister Burr again. Got tonight off and caught up with napping and general bareness.
Right on.
Well, you need a party then. So also, like I said, in a couple weeks we'll get back to Tuesday night sports, but that'll be the only really regular scheduled program for a while. We're working out my streaming schedule and the misses for more opportunities. So it's things are a little bit in transition, but listen, catch all the videos on youtube.com, twitch.tv at dadmanwalking55. Also follow me on Twitter or X at dadmanwalking55, because that is where you get to go and know the latest. Like tomorrow, not only do we have our own streams at 5 o'clock, but we will be on various shows with Amanda Gillen Presents. I'm not sure if it's all Twitch or some Twitch and YouTube or what it is. Like tomorrow night, it was supposed to be Smash or Pass, so like a dating type thing of Star Wars characters, I guess. And, and then other panels might be throughout the day. But hey, don't know, but follow us on Twitter. I'm Dadman Walking 55, Mrs. I don't have a Twitter link here, but hey, if you follow her, catch her there. We'll get the word out where you can find us tomorrow. And on that note, really, truly, to the mods that are here. Bucky's our newest mod. Mr. Angel, JT Kirk, Mrs. Of course, Lady V Elements, I know is here tonight. I'm trying to see. We've got Jeremy. We got Stunning, AFK Bart. We got the one, I think, JT Kirk, of course. I think I've named everybody that's here tonight. We have numerous other mods, but we can't do it without you guys. Thank y'all for being willing to serve. Thank you for serving and all that y'all do, and for promoting the channel and getting it out. So all right. So yeah, I like that. If there's no G, it isn't he. So, and that's true. So oh yeah, and see, the 5th is a statement against Disney, claiming a day made by fans for fans appropriating themselves. Greedy buggers can't let us keep anything. You know how it is. And thank you, Peter Venkman's fan site. Thank you for this. There is possibility that there are 2 franchises down the road that I really would like to maybe explore sometime, but life has to slow down a bit.
Right. Space
1999.
Oh, good.
And the original Battlestar Galactica.
Okay. Before you go into Space 1999, I'm going to warn you. Suffered the same thing with season 2.
Doesn't matter. That's fine. But thanks. But there are 2 that have intrigued me. So we'll have to do our research. Yeah. Do it in the right time, and eventually when the timing is right. So. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time tonight. Thank you for everybody that's here and been here. You want to watch One Piece? Let's talk about that. We'll have to see how that goes. But hey, on that note, 3 hours, 16 minutes. So, oh yeah, I did see that. Last week. Space 1999 was being streamed on YouTube last week. So there is some interest with it. So we'll have to see what we do. But like I said, for a while there were going to be more improvs and things like that. But hey, they're always a blast. You should have seen us in Fortnite tonight. It was a train wreck. But hey, it's all good. Daisy Blossom, my friend, thank you so much. JT Kirk, thank you, sir. And Hungry as always, thank you very much. And I appreciate
you. Are most welcome. You are most welcome. Thank you for having us, sir. Thank you.
Yes, much. Thank you.
You guys, you 3 hours, I'm proud to call you guys family and friends, and you guys out in the chat, y'all rock, and you guys are awesome yourself. And thank you all for your support. And I know my mods do a lot with and talk with, and some of y'all I talk with very personally. Those that I have talked to personally, you guys are rock stars, and you guys mean a lot to the missus and to me, and everybody in the chat coming in participating with us. Thank you again, and y'all have a wonderful night. But you know what, I just decided to do something. JT, how quick can you throw Mark's link in the chat?
Right now I have it, the actual stream itself. Let's see.
We understand the need for shut eye, so Mr. Angel. I'm probably going to collapse like a rock tonight. It's been a long week, so. But yes, so folks, go over
before you collapse and before JT puts the link in the chat. It's Star Wars. It's not A New Hope, because Star Wars was the name on the poster in 1977.
I know. I agree. And Han shot. It's not Han shot first. So
he was the only one that shot.
Exactly.
Nice one, Daisy.
All right. All right. So anyway, everybody have a great night, great tomorrow, and we will see you definitely next Friday. There will be something next Friday. So, but get the notifications. We will have something else even before then. But tomorrow at 5:00 with the missus, and just thank you for your support. We'll catch you later. Bye all.
Nighty-o.
Bye.